Hello, hello. How are you all doing? Hope everybody's well this evening. Thankfully, I can get my hair cut because I'm just looking at the hair. It is quite low. It looked like Wally Drew will be getting a shave too when I'm there tomorrow. Well, no, I'll get a shave tomorrow morning. Meant to do it this morning, but didn't not feeling like it. You know, when you're up early in the morning, you don't really feel like it. So even though I was up in plenty of time, but anyway, long story short. But at least the hair will be, long story short, funny. But at least the hair will be cut because it's atrocious. It looked like Wally Drew or something. Um, so that's the plan. No, because the only time I ever really look at myself is when I'm live streaming. And videos too, but the majority of the time I don't really look in the mirror. I might break the mirror. But that's the only really time when I'm looking at myself here. Because usually I don't really have any much cause to do it, apart from when I'm brushing my teeth in the morning, obviously, so I can see where I'm brushing my teeth. Hello. How are we doing? How's our Wednesday going? Question to everybody. We'll do a poll just to see. What is it again? So long since I've done a poll. Give me a second. If I could spell it, I'd be great. Democracy at work. Hope we're well anyway, but give me a second. I should have probably had this sorted out before I went live. Oh, the Irish Zone is live. Oh, probably. There probably won't be many people here because of that. See, it's awkward to to try and arrange stuff, when to be live, etc., etc. I don't know if this makes any sense, but just ask people: do we think we should put on some Christmas music? Yes or no? Yes. So far, yes. We give it a second now just to see. No, who said no? We're gonna deal with them. But yeah, no, it's just non-copyright. It's not nothing too much, but just ask people because some people were saying that you could put on some Christmas music at some point. Like if you last month, people were saying about it. So it's insane. Last month, at least now you could argue it's December. So I leave it up for a few minutes. We see what people say. If not, then I just put on the normal music, just to say in the background. It would be a big, huge thing. Like if we wear my Christmas jumpers and stuff now, I won't wear my Christmas jumper now because it's far too warm. This is good enough at the moment in time. So we see. Hello, Gordon. Let me just check something here. Oi. The usual thing, as I say, in the evening, like when I start a live stream, the wait about a few minutes for notifications, etc., etc. But there's quite a good bit to discuss. Obviously, we wouldn't hear what Saturday. Jesus, I'm done. So just to say, we wouldn't hear Saturday. Yeah, it was pretty windy here. I'll get into that now in a while too, because we have something to discuss about the wind and all that. So it's pretty windy enough now. Xmas tree, yeah. So no, we're hoping no. Right then. I know. I'm just saying because some people were saying last month. Would you believe? Like literally the beginning of last month, people were saying about it and saying quiet, like literally saying to me, "We want Christmas music." Oh yeah, we'll get to that eventually too. I know all about it. So that's what I'm saying. People were saying last month. So you get them. But hello, Brian. I hope we're well. I find it a little sad because things have changed. Maybe cows. I like that. Yeah, there's not many years ago when I was younger. Like the local choir from the church used to go around. You drop in the tenner, right? Take for example, or 20, to the church, right, and they would come around and sing a Christmas song at Christmas. Now they don't do that, unfortunately. Like they used to do when I was very young. They haven't done the last 6 years. It's unfortunate. But even when I was young, when I was really, really young, I remember them coming to the house, like to sing a few carols, etc., etc. Now that day's gone, unfortunately. Never see it nowadays at all. I think in a few parishes to do, but as I say, I haven't seen it in 6 years here. Give or take, maybe they don't come for me, but yeah, I haven't seen them in 6 years or so. But it'd be nice to have them around, but I don't think it would. Yeah, well, it's been cold the last few days, but I suppose it's coming up to Christmas. So we leave the photo up for another few minutes anyway. We'll see what happens. So it seems like people are saying no. So I should nearly take off my Christmas top and stuff. With Christmas. What would you call this? Christmas top? Yeah, I wouldn't call it a jumper. There probably won't be many people here probably this evening because of the Irish song being live. That's my fault. I should have checked before I went live. See, usually I would check and see who's live and who's not live before I go live. It's always hard to find a balance to, and I often stop into the Irish song, but it's hard to find a balance, I suppose. People, there's a lot of 100 million things to do. People have a lot to watch. But anyway. We're not that far away from Christmas now, just to say. I know people buying it's going to say this is disgraceful. Talking about Christmas, I just said to shut up about Christmas. And he's already talking. But in general, there's not that long left. Another week and a bit, pretty much. The end of this week, as we're speaking now, it's the middle of the week. Like when the first week of the second week, isn't it the second week of December? Yeah, I'm joking. Like we're in the 11th already. It doesn't feel, it should be only Monday. Really, it feels like a long week to me for some reason. I didn't get much sleep now Monday night. I don't know why, but Monday night was atrocious. I didn't get 1 week of sleep. So I don't know what was the story Monday, but that's probably the reason why, because I just didn't get to sleep Monday. And the week feels so long. Yeah, about 2 weeks, yeah, give or take. But still, you won't find it flying by. That's what I'm saying. You won't find it. We'll be here in a few weeks' time. We'll be saying it's Christmas. And then we will find it into January. To another year. What's another year? But anyway, we give it a few more minutes and then we get started. How does that sound? Woke up angry 3 weeks ago. I just don't know what was the problem Monday. I just didn't get 1 week of sleep. Usually, if I had a sleepless night and stuff, usually we get an hour at least of sleep. So I didn't. I don't know what happened. I don't know what was the problem, but that's what happened. So I did sleep early last night. Yeah, even if I went to sleep early, like I went to bed at 11:30 or so. It was at 12 o'clock, something like that, Sunday night, which wasn't bad because again I get up at 6 o'clock, 6:30. So I still get about 6 hours or so, give or take 7. But still didn't get 1 week of sleep, So I don't know what was the problem. So it was a weird one, but basically it was like a zombie going to work, basically, because I just generally didn't get 1 week of sleep. So that was that. No, I don't think it's been 18 now, like 108, sorry. 118, sorry. No, it's happened that it's, for the it was particularly with the election, there was no nearly title, it's just the election thing. It was no really, it probably by right, it should be probably a bit more than that, but, so I'd say it's going to be a quiet evening now tonight. I don't think there's going to be many people here, but sure, look, that's it's understandable, especially coming up to Christmas. People have things to do instead of listening to my but anyway, but I do appreciate everybody being here because again, there's 100 million things people could be doing at the moment with the Christmas coming up. But anyway, we get started now. So I presume we're okay to not do any Christmas music tonight. We see if people want it Saturday. But I bet you any money now people are coming in now in 5 minutes time saying, where's this Christmas music? Yeah. I mean, not even that. I suppose with Christmas too, people are not watching a lot of YouTube. Like even this evening when I was coming home from work, there's a lot of people hanging about going shopping, etc., doing their shopping. They go mad buying stuff for Christmas gifts and stuff like that. You get what I'm saying? So it's around that time people be out shopping. Like usually, in the evening time, people wouldn't be. But now with Christmas coming up, people just going mad, going around places. Because I'm seeing it myself. I see it every day now. This way, people just go mad in the shops buying everything for Christmas. If that makes any sense. So it's understandable that there wouldn't be many people too, I suppose, in that. But anyway, we get started now. Just give me a second. Usually, anyway, it's kind of good that I start and have a chat for a few minutes with people. Store Bob, but yeah, well, there's not much, his house typically. Oh yeah, usually, yeah. Not really jumpers. I've hundreds of jumpers, but usually I wear a t-shirt. It's just kind of a Christmassy one. That's what I mean. Not overspending. I don't really know. I kind of probably spend the average, which is around nearly 300 or so, give or take on everything from gifts from my parents and different things. About 300, give or take. Now I know people that spent 500, 600 more. There's some people that spent 1,000, like especially if you loads of grandchildren, etc., etc. It's going to be a long, hefty expense. I know what somebody that works for me. It's good. Just I know I said it gets started, but not school. What I'm talking about, school at work. They have two children, a bit younger than me. I suppose one of them be probably 10, and the other one to be a bit older, maybe probably nearly go. We'd be doing the leaving sort of thing, give or take. He'd be probably 18, maybe something like that. I don't know. But his youngest is 10. But long story short, they're looking for big iPhones, So I feel sorry for the poor man. That it'd be a few thousand out of his pocket for a few new iPhones and stuff like that. So I feel sorry for him because he could have a bill of 6,000 or 7,000 euro by the end of the year. So I feel sorry for him just on a few iPhones. Like they're looking for literally the latest model of an iPhone. I don't know what it is, but they're looking for literally the most expensive iPhone possible. So I feel sorry for the poor man. No, it's an iPhone, not a PlayStation. It's an iPhone, some iPhone or some kind of thing like that, some kind of phone. I don't know. I don't get it. He told me what it was. He showed me a picture of it all, and I was like, "Good luck to you," Because at the end of the day, I have a phone. I only paid 300 for it. I have to change it soon. But it does the trick. Like it's an old. It's not that modern of a phone. It's a Y something. It's the Samsung of it. It's Samsung Galaxy A10, isn't it? But I have to get a new one soon, obviously. But long story short, it does the trick. Basically, I can answer the phone, do a phone call, look up what I need to look up. I'm not looking for magic, basically. If that makes any sense. But sooner or later, I will upgrade to another phone. And the same with PlayStations and stuff like that. The parents will be swamped with the price of it. So I presume we go with no music for tonight, no Christmas music. I'd just take that poll away. Take that poll away. Yes, democracy has ruled. Now, is that too loud? Hopefully it's not too loud. There we are. Give me a second. Just before I just check emails and stuff like that before I get started, because something could come up. Just literally before I was started or anything like that, somebody be like, well, did you not respond to my email? Or something like that. Just to double check, because usually I do this before I go live. Anyway. Is that one of them folding phones? I seen one of them when I was on the plane to Finland. I don't know how much they will cost, but I presume it's expensive. Right here, let's get started. So where we're going to start, that's the next question. So suppose I start with, I made a video on this the other day, talking about it yesterday, not the other day. Is it a bit laggy? It seems to be a bit laggy tonight. So we get started. So this is a journalist for the Irish Independent. So the three TDs that lost their seat in the general election have been appointed to the Seanad by the Taoiseach, Anne Rabbitte, Joe Flaherty, Logfoot West Media, and can never pronounce his name, but this fell. So they will replace, obviously, Tim Dooley got a seat in Dáil and in McCurran, and majority senators. I don't know how they got a seat, but long story short, what was the point in voting them out? If they get just back in another, and they're still back in the government pretty much. So what was the point in the people of their areas going out and voting against them and telling them to get the boot when they're literally just getting back they're getting into different houses of the Oireachtas. They're not in the Dáil, but they're in the Seanad. So that's not democracy. The Micheál Martin and Simon Howe, it's always like democracy has spoken, all that. But democracy spoke here and said they wanted them gone. And, they're still here. That's the thing. So democracy doesn't seem to have worked in this case. Because I don't think the Taoiseach should have a say, or the government should have a say who they appoint to the Seanad. As I say, it should be a democratic process. You elect who you want. Like the same as the general election, you vote for who you want to be in the Senate. But yeah, bullshit, pretty much. What I'm trying to say to you. So you think this journalist, like in fairness, though, you know, you think this journalist to be like, what was the point in these people in this constituency going out and voting for different candidates? Because they didn't like Anne Rabbitte, or they didn't want Doe, or they didn't want Joe Flaherty, and the people told them to use the Doe and go, in the nicest possible terms. That's what they said. So it doesn't make much sense. Everybody's hello. Sorry, I just go back to that. Hello. Sorry, give me a second. Give me a moment. No, I don't think so. What? I haven't heard anything. Hello, Tony. You're forced. You must be looking at the last place. Yeah, they can't lose the gravy train, but yeah, it doesn't make sense why you would vote them out and then they go back in. It doesn't make any sense. But sure, look, it doesn't make any sense. But again, it's funny to hear Simon Howe saying about democracies, about democracy, etc., the will of the people, and all that. The will of the people is just ignored and just get the boys in. This is lagging a bit for some reason tonight. Don't know why. What's the issue? But it's lagging. So I talked about this before. So this is to do with a TD, just actually coincidentally, Joe Flaherty in his constituency, Loughborough Westmeath, do with Robert Troy. So obviously a former minister, junior minister, was signed for Minister of State due to property. Basically, he had property that he didn't down on the record. Because as a councillor in TD, you're supposed to say, I have a property, I have this house, I have this farm and land, etc., etc. You're supposed to say it. So Mr. Troy here didn't say he had a property and, it wasn't put down. So this is the same day as the other controversy we talk about later on with the Social Democrats. But this seems to have gone under the radar a bit by the mainstream media. So the what they call it, the SIP2, the Standards and Public Office Committee, the SIP2 in other words, said that it's not in the best interest, it's not the best ethics, it's not the best ethics. He says he forgot about it. I don't think he forgot. Like, he says it was genuine human error. I don't think so, because how would you forget that you have a property and stuff like that? It doesn't make any sense. But sure, look at it's all forgiven. Basically, nothing's going to be done about it. They found that the kind of caffeine ethics, contributed that against the standards of public, but nothing's going to be done about it. Like, he's not going to lose the property or all that. He probably has more property now. But long story short, he was re-elected at the door, so the people of his constituency didn't really care. To be totally honest, even though it would be a high priority for me if I was in his constituency. Now, we probably should get to this later on, maybe. I just go to the UK for a second. So this is to do with the Deputy Prime Minister of the UK, obviously the Labour government. So this, in fairness, Sky News asked us some tough questions here. It doesn't make much sense of response. We made the build. We have a massive housing shortage. We built 1.5 million for 3.4 million people. The interviewer, but 2.3 million of them are immigrants. Where would they live? Basically, no, they won't. So where are they going to live? We have plenty of houses. That's literally what she said when he brought up immigration, etc., etc. Oh, there's a housing shortage. Before that, there was a huge housing shortage. We don't have the housing. But as soon as you say, oh, where's the immigrants going to live? Oh, we have plenty of houses. Like, it's funny to hear her change her tune. Like in the one sentence, like this is barely 1 minute and 47. And she changed her tune in less than a few seconds. Oh, we have plenty of houses. Come to immigrants. Like, when immigrants turn up on our show that are unvetted, etc., we can give them all the houses of the day. It doesn't make much sense, to be totally honest. Because again, it's in the one sentence. I wouldn't mind if it was a day later, but literally in the one sentence, she came out with this. And he's pretty much said what Helen McAtee said. We need them to come in to build our homes. But where are the people that are, where they're going to live? If they're all coming in to build houses, where, it doesn't make any sense. Like, it's all lunacy, to be totally honest. It's just total backwards looking idea of sovereignty. We get to this now in a second. Hello, I'll go back to this for a second. It's a bit laggy for some reason tonight. I don't know why. I don't know why it's lagging. I come back to no bother, good, no bother. I couldn't tell you what. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about it, to be totally honest. To be totally truthful with you. Oh yeah, but there's a lot of questions too still about that case you're talking about. Um, but obviously there's a few things that don't add up. I will say that. I'm not fully informed in the case, as I say, but there's some things that don't add up in some of the regards. Um, that's all I say, but I don't know much more about it, Tony, to be totally honest. So I couldn't speak on it because I could be wrong on some of the things I say. But I know there's other YouTubers and stuff talking about it. They know probably more about it, etc., etc. But I will say there's questions in some of the things I've heard about it. There's some questions that need to be answered still not. But again, I don't know much more about it than that, to be totally honest. But it'd be irresponsible, I suppose, of me to say anything particularly of it if I don't know the whole facts of it, I suppose. But yeah. Um, um, so speaking about immigration and uh, all that jazz, why is this lagging so much? Why is this having a fit today? Sorry about this, everyone. I don't know why this is having a brain fit. But yeah, so I just seen this the other day. Um, Mohammed is one of the most popular names for boys in the UK in 2023. So this is last year. Just, like literally one of the most Jack and John, etc., etc. Uh, under this, would you believe? Like it doesn't make any sense for the UK. Like first of all, I thought, like I remember in Galway, remember Mohammed. Nobody believed it. I remember somebody went around Galway asking why was Mohammed the most popular name in Galway? Nobody believed him. But it shouldn't, like in truth and not in the most nicest possible way. It should not be in the Western world the most popular name because especially in Ireland and the UK, etc. Because it's Jack and John, etc., etc. Like I don't get why a name from the Middle East is one of the most popular names, but particularly when you look back at the records, and it's not far away the Oasis. If you look back at the records dating back hundreds of years, there's never was a name like this from the Middle East. It's the same in Ireland. Imagine back in the 1930s here in Ireland, the 1900s, 1800s, say, for example. You never would have, it would have been unheard of hearing a name of this, like back in Ireland in the 1840s, say, for example, during the famine or before the famine. It would have been unheard of to hear this name on the Irish shores. And the same in the UK. So I don't get what has changed. But it just goes to show you that the amount of people coming into a country is demographically changing the country, and particularly with namings and different, stuff like that. Because it just shows that there's so many more people coming in than there's people, the natural people who have lived in the state for the last 100 years, hundreds of years. The more people coming in, that's what's happening. Because no English person, I don't think, is calling the children this, to be totally honest. So I don't know, but long story short, that's the way I see it. It shouldn't be in the same as it shouldn't be the most popular name in Galway. It shouldn't be. Simple stand is not far away to West. If it is, so be it. But it's just my opinion on it because it's not anything to do with Irish culture. It's not anything to do with the Irish society, etc., etc. Or even British society. But again, that's the story for them. But I'm just referencing Galway particularly here. But that's far away from West. So be it. Same as Clare. Oh no, this is the cow, like this area we call it the G, like there's the Buddha's Bridge call it. Sorry, I couldn't speak there. But yeah, that's what it is. I'd be getting locked up now. Well, I mean, so we get to the main thing, I suppose. People want to hear. So I'll just briefly touch on this now. So after the election, etc., etc. Now I hold all the TDs in Cavan before the election. Oh, we'll fix this in Cavan General. Nobody will wait in a trolley. Oh, we'll do this, we do that, we do the other. But as we speak in Cavan General Hospital this morning, there was 13 people lying in a trolley. One of them very elderly, something like 85 or something like that. And they had to lie in the trolley for a few hours. Now, I haven't heard anything from the TD. Like, all of a sudden, TDs are very quiet. Like, before the election, they were all promised, we promised the moon, earth, and stars. We're going to build a whole new hospital to deal with it and all that. That's like everything and anything was said, pretty much, to get a few votes. But now everything's just forgotten about. Um, so nothing, basically, and it's the same way as I said to you before, because people from Mullen had to come to Cavan. It just doesn't make any. None of the TDs seem to give a shit. So it's all forgotten about pretty much. So this is going to happen all the time from now on. It's the usual crack. Nothing will change. Just to say straight to you. Now, I think we'll wait a second before we touch on that. So I just want to talk about this. This is a major thing at the moment in Cavan. A lot of people are very upset about this, and so rightly so. So Cavan County Council increased the weights. This is the business weight, so they're increasing it by another 10%. Now, my suggestion here, uh, because as one of the councillors pointed out, there are some members that couldn't agree on the specifics at the time. Some businesses were struggling to keep the doors open as it is. So the county council just slapped down another 10% on them. And as they said themselves, some businesses barely can keep the doors open, and this might push some businesses over the last limit. And I know they're saying it's not the highest in the country in business weights, etc., etc. And I know they're saying they can get a huge amount of money. The meeting hold will increase, 1.8 million for the local authority if this was implemented, so that we get nearly 2 million euro from it. And this is the thing I would have suggested, because it is about a year, like all the 16 members of Cavan County Council, all the 16 councillors, and expenses. This is expenses, allowances, and all that. It's about 1 point something million, something like that, a bit less than that, maybe. I think it's 1.1 or something like that, 1.2, something like that, altogether, the 16 of them altogether. So why could we not say to the councillors, instead of saying no, acknowledging the businesses are struggling, why could we not say to the councillors we abolish any allowances, expenses? Because if I was a councillor there at the moment, that's what I'd be saying. None of them suggested that the councillors should take a hit. It's all right for the only Joe. Again, these councillors here, it's all right for the only Joe who owns a business. It's all right for them to take the hit, but we won't suffer. I never during the election, I remember hearing them, we care about businesses and all that. Now they don't seem to really care, to be totally honest with you. But this is the thing I would have said. If I was a councillor, I would be saying we cut off our allowances for the year, and that will waste the money if we want more money. All the councillors agree that they won't take any salary, like they won't take expenses as allowances, and that'll save the council a huge amount of money. Or we take a 20% cut in our pay. But no, they never would agree with that. They go mad if you said that to them. Like that's why they wouldn't want me as a councillor, because I would suggest that, because there's no point there's no point saying all businesses are struggling and then saying, oh yeah, I'm going to vote in favour of it. It's just kind of talking shit, the nicest possible way. That's what it is. Because I heard often these councils saying, "Oh yeah, the business during the election, or during the local election, businesses are struggling. It's so hard for them to make ends meet. We have to help them out." But when the election's over, fuck them. Very much. Like in the nicest possible way. That's literally what's been said here. And the majority of people do agree. A lot of people are very angry about it, because again, a lot of businesses are struggling to keep the doors open. So that's what I think, in my opinion. And if I was a councillor, that's what I'd be suggesting. Even though they wouldn't agree with me, but that's what we should do. In solidarity. I know they always say solidarity and stuff like that. But in solidarity, the councillor should take a 20% pay cut or get rid of the expenses, allowances, and all that. But none of them will do that. Nicest possible way, they won't do it. So, nicest possible way. Helsinki has fallen. Oh, no. Hello, Aaron. I suppose talking about Britain earlier on, just when I'm here. So white British students will not be allowed to apply for the secret service. So this is MI6, like the secret intelligence office, MI6 and MI5. So in the two partnerships, basically, for the intelligence service, no white British students, people from Britain, like white young men, white young women, will not be allowed. So basically, it's just the force of the hires. Anybody that fits the white skin color. Now, straight away, just to say to you, it's a security service. Like you're defending the nation against cyber attacks, etc., etc. Terrorism, take for example, too. Like the main thing for me in any government should be: can we prevent terrorist attacks? Can we do that? This is the point of intelligence services. It shouldn't be about let's push anti-right race theory, etc., etc. Because that's what's being pushed here. We should be like, and again, it doesn't matter if you're what color of skin you are. If you are good in like say technology and you know your stuff about how to break into computers, take for example, how to be good surveillance operative, etc., etc. If you know your way around that stuff and you have the credentials, you should be elected, regardless of you should be put in. If you're white, if you're brown, whoever you are, that's the way it should go. If you fit if you know what you're doing and you fit the quote and you're a good fit for the job, that's what it should be. Because again, this is just very stupid. What's happening here. It's just very stupid, because it should be whoever knows the most and whoever's able to do the most, whoever knows the most about intelligence, computers, take for example, technology and stuff like that. That's what it should be about. This is just plain racism. pretty much against white people. But you won't hear the British government up in arms about it. But if it was the other way around, believe me, you would hear the media 24/7. But again, as I say, it shouldn't be discriminated because again, this is discrimination pretty much uh, against white people. But again, as I say, even if it was black people too, I'd be still saying the same thing. That's what I was still saying. Hello, Brandon. How are we doing? We'll probably get around to that in a while. It's a good bit. It's a good bit still to say. Yeah, about everything. Give me a second. Sorry, there was a message. Hope we're well. Yeah, we'll get around to the summer. I don't know. It might be a long time because I see it wasn't live Saturday, and that's what completely fucked me because there's that much need to discuss. There's that much. There's just that much. See, if I was live Saturday, I would have talked a bit more about different things. So hopefully we probably will get around. What time we are? We're near 7:30. Let me see. Where am I going now? So I just start with. I go with this one next. See, there's some local issues and the national ones. There's a few other. There's a few things talking about probably tonight. So this is to do with. I've talked about this many times. So thankfully we have an answer. This is to do with the CMETB, the Cavan Modern Education Training Board. So this is to do with the special school. Now you probably have heard many times me say it that there should be a special school. Mullen has the only county that couldn't have a special school, like for special needs kids. They have to go to Cavan to get to the Holy Family School in Cottill. So basically, Mullen was the only county in the country that didn't have a special designated school, and them children would have to travel a good few kilometres every day to get to school in Cottill, take for example. Monaghan town, some of them were leaving, and it's about a half an hour's journey to Cottill back and forward. For special needs kids that have severe learning disabilities, severe disabilities in general too. So it's good to see that there's finally something being done. So the new school is going to be in Castleblaney in County Monaghan, which I do think, and a lot of people have said it, that it's a good place because it's really in the middle of everything really in Monaghan. So a lot of people are very happy where it's going to be placed. So it's about time. It's long overdue, but obviously it's going to take another €500 billion to build, because let's be fair, they couldn't build a hen house in this country. So it's going to go way over budget. Like I can see it already going way over budget. Like this is just establishing it, looking for ground, etc., etc. They have nowhere they're going to build it. So it's going to take another 30 years, I have to say. So hopefully it doesn't, but I have hopes that I hope it won't. But it's good that there's at least some progress, because for 30 years, there was always saying, oh, we do it at some point, there was always that talk. Oh, we get it at some point, like for the last 30 years. So at least it's finally something in the right direction. It's going to take another 30 years to build it, and not to mention the pay for it. But, we're in the right direction. Give it another 30 years. So I've done a video on this. So this is to do with the deal with South America, the European deal with South America, Argentina, Brazil, Paraguay, Uruguay, and this is to do with beef. So the European Union, for the wisdom, Ursula von der Leyen every day of the week is like, oh, the environment, etc., etc., the environment, climate change, all that. But yeah, let's bring hundreds of thousands of tons of beef to the European Union from South America. Is that not going to create more emissions, etc., etc.? Because every day of the week they're saying, "Oh, we have to cut down on the environment. The environment is, under threat, etc., etc." But how, in the name of God, is this, help with the environment? Bringing hundreds of tons of beef from Argentina to the European Union, etc., etc. Take for example Ireland too. It doesn't make any sense. And again, at the same time, you have to remember, it's more or less sending Irish beef industry down the drain, along with some other beef industries across Europe too. So most likely we'd be forced to join this. I don't think the Irish government probably will have a choice in it. And even if it goes into the Parliament, the Dáil Éireann and Shannon Éireann, the government are going to vote overwhelmingly with the European Union. They're not going to go against them. They never have voted against the European Union. They're too afraid of Ursula von der Leyen. They're too afraid to stand up for the Irish people. But they're okay. It's okay bringing over beef that are lower quality, and so it is. It's lower quality, a lot less, more better, etc., etc. Because again, it's not the same quality of beef. It's not the same processes. It's different processes, and it's not up to higher standards as it is in Ireland. But they don't want, as I say, it's just senseless because they want to get rid of farmers here, but it's okay for us to get beef from South America. It doesn't make much sense. Why would you want to kill off the farming industry here, but you're taking beef from South America? It doesn't make any sense. And then importing it too, like that's going to cause more emissions, etc., etc. And obviously, Charlie McGonglow here, the Minister of Agriculture, is going to sign the dotted line anyway. He's going to go overwhelmingly with with the European Union. He's not going to stand up for the beef industry. Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael just sell us down the. They're going to sell them down the welfare again as to do all the time, pretty much. What I'm trying to say. But we see what happens. It's going to be another while yet. But that's pretty much yourself. That's what they always have done, and they will continue to do it. Let's put that way. We see what happens. But at the moment, it doesn't look like anybody's going to stop it. It's going to take a few more months anyway for them to sort it out. But pretty much, I don't think the Irish government are going to stop it. Pretty much, what I'm trying to say. So a lot of the beef industry will be gone. Pretty much, what I'm trying to say. So this is to do with Killinelec Garda Station. I know this is just small local issues at the moment, but it is important for the people in Killinelec. It is very important because the council meeting, the monthly meeting of Cavan County Council, was just Monday gone by, and the longest thing that was discussed was the Garda Station in Killinelec. Like it was literally the longest thing discussed. Like I think they went on for nearly 40 minutes, nearly talking about this Garda Station in Killinelec, because there's that much anger about it in the backlash. So the proposal is at the moment, but again, it's like trying to find Fort Knox, to be totally honest, or trying to get into Fort Knox. Like even myself, I inquired about it to see what was happening with this Garda Station, because technically it's still, technically on paper, like not in reality, but on paper, it's supposed to be open a few times a week to sign passports and all that crack, the usual thing in majority rural Garda stations. On paper, but it's not in reality. It doesn't open. Like it's simple. That hasn't opened for a long, long time. Since COVID, it hasn't opened. So, but before COVID and stuff, it used to be open twice a week. I think it was for signing documents and stuff. Things like that. And to be totally honest, there's literally just like Fort Knox trying to find out things. Like you think this was literally housed a nuclear bomb or something like that because of that secretism. Like even the councillors themselves, they don't really know what's happening with it. The Gardaí won't tell them what's happening with it. And the Gardaí won't tell the local community. Above all else, that's the people who deserve to know. So from my knowledge, and again I go to this, and again what the councillors, what they have talked about, to my knowledge, and just to say, is that they're going to house a division. Not like it's not going to be an only Garda station. What I'm trying to say, it's going to be like I suppose a divisional headquarters of some kind of unit of the Gardaí, either be the drugs unit or something like that. If that makes sense, he said not like an only Garda station. It's going to be a divisional unit, either the drugs and organised crime unit or the armed support unit or something like that. So it's not going to be an only Garda station, pretty much. It's going to be the headquarters for that organisation or drugs unit, etc., etc. Paul Keogh, yeah, well, Paul Keogh, thanks to God he's gone. He was no addition. So nobody's going to cry over him. He was upset. Like I remember him being upset that people were not sad that he was leaving. Like that was the thing. I remember him crying that people were quite like celebrating him leaving. Everybody was celebrating. Nobody liked him. I didn't like him, and that's the nicest possible way. Dotted line. But we see what happens anyway with the deal. But what I'm trying to say is, why would you talk about the environment on one hand? Ursula von der Leyen's every day of the week, we need to cut down on this, we need to just do this for the environment. But bringing loads of tons of meat from halfway around the world to the European Union, is that not going to cause more emissions, etc.? So that's very hypocritical. Bringing lower quality meat, etc., to the European Union too. And then obviously selling Irish farmers in the river. But we see what happens. But pretty much, long story short, it's pretty much, it seems like it's going to be divisional headquarters of some unit of Garda Station, like not only Garda Station, pretty much, which a lot of people are very fuming about. Because imagine, literally back in the 40s, like this was not the Garda Station in the 40s, it was a lot smaller than this. But there always was a Garda Station in Killinelec back in the 40s and the 50s and 60s. When the country had no money, that was the thing. When the country had no money, there was a Garda Station. And people are not happy that the country's full of money now and they won't put the Garda Station there. Like even during the recession, the Garda Station was open. Like for members of the public to go in if they needed to inquire on something, But that's not the case now. It isn't. But we see what happens. But I don't think it ever will be open. But it's the fact of the matter. What the thing I mentioned, because the secrecy. Like you think there was You think there was a nuclear bomb hiding in it or something, because they just, there's no witty engagement. Even the councillors themselves, the more discussing about it Monday that they didn't know, the more saying I was told this and this was told that and the other person was told that and I was told this and you were told that and I was this and I was that and the other. It was just literally there going around in circles, pretty much. And that's what I've been told too. That it's going to be some divisional headquarters for some unit of Garda Síochána. Who knows what unit? I don't think they know themselves, but it's just a load of bollocks, really, in my opinion. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. But it's just selling down again, particularly Irish beef. It's very high quality, etc., etc. And it employs a lot of people in this country. You might not think, but it does employ a lot of people. And again, it's going to do them out of business. A lot of business, not all the business, but a lot of people be losing their jobs over it. It doesn't make any sense. And it's, as you say, with the Netherlands too, just even Ireland, for example, too. Uh, you know. But no, my point in the matter is we should be more worried about the European Union, in promoting our businesses, like in the European Union as a whole, instead of running off to South America for cheaper goods, etc., etc., because that's really what it's about. And then every day saying, oh, the environment and stuff like that. But the environment doesn't really matter when you're importing hundreds of tons of beef from the other side of the world. It doesn't make much sense. Would you not rather do it closer to home instead of, like, say, for example, in Ireland, that's not too far away from the continent, like from France, from the European continent, than going from South America, like literally Brazil, Argentina, is literally down here. The European Union's up here. Argentina, Uruguay is down there. They're all the way down, literally near the Falkland Islands, near the North Pole. Like down that way. Argentina, the Antarctica. That's the right word to describe it. Hello, Vienna. How are you doing? But it doesn't make any sense, but true. I don't think the European as a whole makes any sense, but true. So I just want to put. This is probably not relevant, but this is to do with Cavan tiny towns at the moment. In Cavan, I just wanted to briefly acknowledge this because I seen this the other day. And it's quite good. They've done a nice flower on the steps. I don't know if people know. People from Cavan will know. If Brian was here, probably know. But they've done a nice flower because these steps, are very old steps. They're not really. There's not much life on them. So it's good to see there's nice flowers and stuff because it turned out very well. Like, they are well done. Look at this. It's quite good color. Because again, these steps don't look that appealing. The good thing, one that I say about this, just briefly when I'm here, in Helsinki and stuff like that, the majority of the steps like this had paint on them. They were painting them and stuff like that. There was one in the finished color, it was white, and then there was blue. Then there was white and blue. One of the steps I went up in one part of Finland. All the steps are not just plain. Basically, there's color to them. To look appealing, etc., etc. Same as the walls. The majority of the streets, etc., etc., were all painted. The walls were painted, etc. It's all about color because again, this looks very damp and dark. So it's good to see some color. So I just wanted to acknowledge that and congratulate Cavan Teddy Towns on that because it's really, really nice. I seen it yesterday and it was really, really good. It brings some color to the area, and especially oftentimes I walk past this because the road's there, just behind the camera here. So it's really, really good. And I would say to people, to give credit to the Cavan Tiny Towns on this one because it's really, really good, and it's making use of of an area that has kind of worn down a bit. So it's good to see. So that's that. So I just want to talk about the storm. Now, this storm was here Saturday. I'm sure people know. It was quite bad. Now, the storm was quite bad. It was quite windy. As you know, we literally had 400,000 people lost their power. Except thankfully it didn't go off here. But in other parts of Cavan it did, and loads of people, there's still some people that are waiting for the lights. I think in one part of Cavan, one boy just down there beside Ballyconnor, they're still waiting for the power to come on in some places. It's insane too, in my opinion, that it's so long. We're nearly a week after it, and we're still, some places still don't have electricity. So I do think we need to start looking at power lines, etc., etc. Because it shouldn't really be the case that a storm will come. I know it's not the great, like it wasn't an only storm, it was a bit severe. But it should be a case where half the country doesn't lose the power, pretty much. We have to look in some kind of way of either putting underground power lines, etc., etc. Because it's insane, that still we're talking Wednesday, a few days afterward. Still, people who are out the power, etc., etc. It doesn't make any sense for a modern country. It shouldn't really be. We do need to look into it, but the long story short, there's a lot of people still without power. Um, but yeah, so it was quite bad. It was quite bad storm now. Not gonna lie to you, it was pretty windy. There was a lot of damages. This whatever election posters, I tell you this, just not here. Like whatever election posters were left up on the on the polls, etc., just flew off. To Timbuktu. Like we found one poster for Calma Brady, like the Fine Gael councillor, from the election and stuff like that. It was just bits. Because literally must have blew off a pole and just smacked in the trees. So whatever. Oh, I forgot the music. Turned off the music at one point. Sorry. But that's what happened. It just flew off into the distance. So that's that. So the next thing. Sorry. So the next thing, probably people have heard about it. Thing. Oshin Hayes. I think I'm saying right. So this is a social debate. So this is just a new TD, pretty much. So basically, he had shares in the software company that had relations to Israeli defense forces. Now, I don't mean to emphasize, what Israel is doing, etc., in the Middle East at the moment, and the amount of people they're killing, etc. So, and pretty much this is war profiteering. Like, there's no easy way of putting it. It's pretty much war profiteering of the backs of innocent people dying. Now, the Social Democrats did give him the boot. They told him to fuck off and get out of the party. In fairness, they did. In fairness, I'm not blaming Holly Combs here. I don't think she knew. Maybe she did know, but I doubt that she knew. Because particularly the Social Democrats are very passionate about this issue in Palestine. And so should, because obviously it's genocide. There's evil being committed in Palestine, etc., And not to mention Israel themselves have put Irish troops in danger, flew weapons of war across our sovereign airspace. Israel is not the country Ireland should be doing business with in the nicest possible terms. We shouldn't have anything to do with them. But again, this councillor here, he was a councillor before that, and now he's a TD. So basically, he's an independent now. To be totally honest, if I was him, he should just resign. Be totally honest, he should leave the Dáil. He's no addition. Sympathise, no addition. Again, as I said in the video the other day, and I don't know if anybody hear it. Like, he knows people from Israel, so he could be in the pockets of the Israeli government. Like, he generally could be in the pockets of the Israeli government, because obviously, as I said in the video, the only thing he's interested in is money. He wants money. That's all he cares about. So if the Israeli government €500,000 or €1,000,000 and say, here you go, give as much information as you can on the Irish government or on Irish society, whatever's happening, he's going to sell his country out for money. Simple as that. Because he obviously knows people from Israel, the Israeli intelligence service, the Israeli government, the Israeli military. He's willing to sell his country out. Simple as that. Like this fellow is. He's a national security risk, in my opinion. So he should be kicked out of office. And I don't think the people of Dublin based South would have voted him in if they knew about it. Yeah, there's a few other questions between Social Democrats, but particularly with this. Because again, as you know yourself, I've heard Holly Collins many times sit up in the Dáil and say about the Occupied Territories bill and jumping up and down about it. And so, in fairness, she has a good case now to jump up and down because it is a genocide that's happening. Israel shouldn't be getting off with what they're getting off with. So, in fairness, I'm not going to say she's right to jump up and down about it. But it kind of dilutes the message a bit when you see this kind of thing. If that makes any sense. But no, it's a very shameful thing. This fellow, to be totally honest, he shouldn't be a TD. He should be gone. Who? Hello, Gift. Sorry, what? I tried to use a talking among who? Use a talking to Greenface, and you're not asking me. We're all talking about some. But yeah. But no, it is very nefarious. But the other thing, there's more war. It gets worse from here. To be honest, it doesn't get any better, unfortunately. But it was the right thing they did in getting rid of him. To be totally honest, I put a pat on the back for that. I don't know about Israel, but definitely Turkey did. Like in terms of Syria, we'll get to that in a few minutes. But from my of view, I don't think it was Israel. Uh, I think it was just like Turkey. Turkey was really the ones helped him out, I think, the most. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but it does seem like Turkey was the people who helped him the most, pretty much. So support the local election campaign, So long story short, this is why he wanted help, and he had 200,000 euro in stocks, and only members of the public donated to him, wishing them well, wanting them to get a seat in Dáil and the local town. And he had a fundraiser. Imagine this: the backbone of this fellow. He had huge. This is probably just the money we know about. He could have other stocks from other companies fitting his way. The Israeli government could have handed him a check for a few million. Who knows? We couldn't trust him. Basically, he's untrustworthy. The Israeli government could have €1 million from him every week. We don't know. But it's very shameful that he was looking for members of the public to donate money to him. It's pretty shameful. And him with more money than the only Joe. Because the only working class Joe, who supports the Social Democrats, working a 9 to 5, getting maybe 300, 400 euro a week, they might donate 100 or 200 out of the salary for a month. And that's a lot of money for a person like that. But again, they must feel very shameful that he went around and done this, and he didn't need the money. Like he didn't need the fundraiser for the top. So this is the thing that was said. So this is on the Social Democrats page. I'm a Social Democrat. Doesn't miss out. I'm a long-term Wentham. I don't believe you. To be totally honest, I generally don't believe you, Oisin, because he has more money than nearly anybody. Like, this is the money we know about. So what else does he have? And I personally, there's devastating effects on young people. But this is the thing. What about the people in Palestine being bombed by Israel, etc., etc.? Doesn't seem to mention that one. But again, if the occupied territories bill came up in Dáil, he would vote against it, because pretty much he's in the pockets of Israel. In my opinion, he's in the pockets of Israel, and he shouldn't be in Dáil. To be the nice. Oh, you asked me earlier. Sorry, I missed your question. I don't know when you asked it. It must have flew over my head. Apologies for that. I don't know. It could. It all depends within the next week, but we see. At the moment, they're talking to independents, so it's kind of 50-50 really. Yeah, but I do think they will have it by the mid-January. I can't guarantee now. But pretty much they could. So I don't know. But apologies for missing your question earlier on. Because again, as I said to you before, I can't scroll up the page. I can only see what's in front of me there. I would be arguing among each other. I presume you know who you're talking about. Like, we're talking about it. It's not as bad. I've seen worse. To be totally honest, though, don't worry. It's just kind of seemed to be friendly banter. That's what it seems like. Wouldn't be totally. Yeah, well, we see what happens, I suppose. But hopefully, the only thing I say, we say in a second about Israel. But the one thing I say just before we move on to the next thing is, hopefully there'll be some kind of stability and obviously some kind of understanding. Like, there won't be as many killing, because obviously it's going on 13 years. There's been a lot of suffering, a lot of people killed. So hopefully, fingers crossed, at the end of the suffering and pain and the people being killed, etc. As I say, that's the main thing. As long as there's an end to a conflict, end to fighting, etc., etc., people being shot, etc., etc. If that makes any sense. That's what I'd say to people on Israel, on Syria. Sorry, excuse me. So hopefully there will be some kind of peace and lasting peace. Hopefully, because again, it's going on 13 years or so. I remember when it first happened. Stuff like that. It's a long time ago. A lot of people must have died. Like, a lot of people emigrated, etc., etc. But the majority of people who are here from Syria, take us up in the UK or wherever, they should be all going home. To be totally honest, now at this stage, within the next year or so, they should be all going home, because the conflict has ended. There's no conflict at the moment. They should be going home. To be honest, majority of people who are from Israel, they're not Israel. So, Israel, sorry, Syria. Excuse me, I'm confused myself. I'm like John McGook. Santa for Christmas. Syria, yeah, excuse me, sorry, I'm getting confused. See, it's hard to. There's that much conflict happening in the Middle East. It's hard to get confused. What are you getting Santa for Christmas? Nothing. You know. Also, you can't you can't send anything to. It'd be different if she was the prime minister. You could send it to the prime minister as well, but you can't send anything to her now because technically she's the prime minister. You can't just go and you don't have you have to send it to her address and stuff like that. But I don't have her address obviously because technically she's a private citizen. Technically. Technically. But yeah, no, I just talk about Syria now when I'm in Syria, yeah. Yeah, but just even going back, like Bashar al-Assad's father used to be the president of Syria. Like really, because France back in the day owned Syria, etc., etc., and then obviously the Ottomans owned it. So pretty much again it's just colonialism, really much that started really all this pretty much. Yeah, it's the same what happened in like I remember people saying it's going to be a big like what they call Damascus was going to be a huge stronghold like Stalingrad, and pretty much they all just give up and surrendered. You know, it's the same what happened with the Taliban in Afghanistan. They all just surrendered in a week. I presume they knew the war was lost pretty much, that the momentum was on the rebel side, and there was not much worth fighting for. That's really, and they just kind of give up. So that's the thing. He's gone to Russia. Yeah, he's gone to Russia. So that's pretty much what happened. They just kind of surrendered. A lot of the soldiers surrendered. Unbelievable, yeah. But see, when you see even when the Taliban was up in Afghanistan, it fell within a week after the United States left. Even though, again, you have to remember more than the Assad regime in Syria. The United States give the Afghanistan army, not the Taliban, hundreds of billions of euro worth of equipment, the most modern military equipment you could find, and they literally all give up and surrendered, within a week, and hundreds of trillions of euro the United States pumped into Afghanistan, and all fell within a week. It's the same what happened there. But see, when a country gets some momentum, or an armed forces, etc., etc., you get your enemy in the back foot, and I suppose, after 13 years, a lot of the fighters of Assad's regime just kind of give up because after 13 years or so, people probably just wanted an end to it, one way or another. So that's pretty much what happened. And probably they just knew that they weren't going to win, because obviously the enemy, the rebels in terms of Assad, the rebel group, took so much ground, etc., etc. They probably could see there was no other way out of it, really. That's pretty much what happened. No, it's not really Russia. Russia has their own problems at the moment. That's the problem at the moment. Russia and Iran had their own problems, so they couldn't really worry about. I know Russia used to back Assad, but in Ukraine at the moment. So that's what. So Russia wasn't that bothered. They don't have the resource. What I'm trying to say, to give to Assad, take for example, they have their own problems in Ukraine. If that makes any sense. So they didn't have the resources, they didn't have the men, and they didn't have the equipment to give to Syria. So that's what happened. Because they had too much in their hands already in Europe and Ukraine, etc., etc. So that's what happened. And then obviously Iran has Israel could attack them again at any moment, etc., etc. And then obviously with what's happening in Gaza, Iran's busy. So basically, the two biggest allies, Iran and Russia, for Assad, basically had too much on their plate and they couldn't basically deal with it. And that's what happened. I suppose that too. It was the fact of the matter they used the opportunity wisely too, the rebel group, because the two biggest supporters of Assad's regime couldn't do anything with it because they were that busy with their own problems. And not to mention too, with obviously the presidential election in the United States in a few weeks' time. The presidential inauguration. They picked their time wisely, pretty much. Yeah, but hopefully the only thing I hope for, I'm not willing to side of any of the sides, to be totally honest. But I do hope that the peace to come and hopefully some kind of democracy and understanding will come from it in Syria. That's what I hope anyway. That there'll be some kind of understanding, there'll be some kind of reconciliation, um, and there won't be any more killing. That's what I'm trying to say. Because there's been too much suffering, I suppose, is from Syria, and we don't want anybody else being killed. Simple as that. It's gone on far too long, and it's about time it come to an end. The war and suffering is over. That's the main thing I'm more concerned about. But whoever, as long as the people of Syria are happy with who's in power, that's the main thing. But I do hope this democratic elections established and or not. It might not happen, we see, but hopefully it does, because the people of Syria have a right to know who governs them and choose who governs them. Um, yeah, Turkey was the main driver, but yeah, pretty much for the Weber group was Turkey more. I know people said it was NATO and stuff, but I don't think it was. I don't think NATO. It was to NATO. I don't think NATO really had much else for. I think it was just mainly Turkey. It wasn't any NATO countries. I don't think the United States is much careful. To be totally honest, because the United States is busy with other stuff at the moment. Yeah, well, we'll see. Hopefully, nothing. As I say, hopefully everybody will be able to reconcile, etc. So obviously, there's some concerns, obviously, particularly with questions. We'll see what happens. Hopefully, some understanding can be found. Yeah, but I'm not saying the wider NATO. I'm not saying the wider NATO. I'm only saying Turkey as a whole, as themselves. I don't think other countries in NATO had a role to play in it. If that makes any sense, I think it was just Turkey as themselves. Because Turkey has a vested interest. Because Syria is literally in the door of Turkey. Like take for example Denmark. Why would Denmark give a shit? What happens in Syria? Take for example. Because Denmark is not bordering them. If that makes sense, it's hundreds of miles away. So that's what I'm saying. Turkey has a vested interest if there's going to be government friendly to Turkey, because obviously Turkey wouldn't want a government that's unfriendly to them on their doorstep. And I don't think the United States is, the United States have other issues at the moment in terms of what's happening in the Middle East, particularly, and then not to mention what's happening in Ukraine and other parts of the world too. Do you get what I'm saying? So I don't think NATO had any role to play. I think it was just Turkey as a whole. But I do think they picked the moment because, again, Russia is busy with their own thing and Assad, because that's really what popped up Assad. It was the Russians and the Iranians, really. That was really the only thing. And now that support was gone, pretty much. There was nothing really to stop it collapsing, I suppose. Hello, 420. How are we doing? Um, go to war. Yeah, that's the sad reality. It's the fight and conquer, really, pretty much. But in a perfect world, and we're all saying in a perfect world, uh, in a perfect world, we would want to see the end of suffering and stuff like that. Because, I suppose maybe just me, but I never want to see people being hurt, etc., being killed. I know it's probably a delusional, I suppose, thing, but we don't, like you've seen in the past, suffering and people being killed, etc. You just want people to try and live their lives, etc. Like for the only Joe, uh, life is a gift, and that's what I deem it as. Life is a gift, and we shouldn't then underestimate. We shouldn't throw away people's lives because it is a gift. It's a gift to be alive. And to live your life, etc. And I do think it's important that people have the opportunity to live their lives. And again, in my opinion, it's a senseless waste war, etc. Because we've seen in the First World War hundreds of thousands of young people in the trenches thrown against the gunfire, etc. All for really a few inches of ground, pretty much. You get what I'm saying? It's senseless, really. It only benefits the top people at the top, where the wars in the world. Conflicts, etc. But I get what you're saying, 100%. I get it. If you get 100 people and put them together, nobody's going to agree on everything. People will be at each other's throats, if that makes any sense. I'm sure you get what I'm saying, but it's suppose in my head, that's the main thing, that there's no conflict and nobody ends up being killed, etc. That's the main thing. Yeah, like the timing, they picked the timing very precise because again, it's like it keeps saying is Iraq and Russia are busy with their own problems, as you know. So they couldn't come to take for example, Assad said if Assad rang up Putin and said, "I need help," there's very little things Putin could have done to help him. Or as take for example, the Iranians, they could have done fuck all too to help him really at the moment. And take, for example, Trump coming in the United States. The United States could probably do nothing too, because the new, like Joe Biden could probably do nothing at the moment. You know. No, thank you for Randy. I appreciate it. But you know what I'm saying? Like the intro, like the government that's going out of the United States at the moment, Joe Biden and stuff, they can do probably pretty much nothing. Because technically they're pretty much just a temporary, what would you call it? What would you call it? Interim government. Like don't have the probably full powers of the presidency, if that makes sense. Because there's another president coming in a few weeks' time. So, the United States probably couldn't do much, like commit to a big conflict in the Middle East, if that makes sense. That's in that terms, and putting boots on the ground or anything like that, if that makes sense. But we see what happens. We see. Who knows what will happen, but we see. But however, again, the main thing I want is just, stability in Syria, etc., etc., etc. That people can, at least live their lives without conflict, and children could grow up without being bombed, etc., etc., being killed, etc. So that's the one thing I think everybody wants. Regardless of what country there's around the world, it's a gift. Life is a gift, and I do think we don't appreciate it. We don't appreciate, human beings. When we hear numbers, so many people have been killed. I think media, etc., etc., has dumbed people down to numbers, because again, at the end of the day, they are people. But I do think all the refugees that are in the Western world, or wherever, they should be probably going home at the moment to Syria, because pretty much the war is over, and whatever way, like it, whichever way it's going to go, it's pretty much over. Because I don't see much else really coming, like Assad coming back. It makes any sense. I don't see that. I think it's done for, like, pretty much in that, like, Assad's never going to be back in power in Syria. I keep saying Israel, but yeah, we see what happens. We're going to hope for the best. We wish them the best, but we all agree on that. But yeah, no, it is interesting time. There's a lot of things happening now, obviously, with the presidential election, like the inauguration of the president of the United States, presidential election. Yeah, anyway, you know what I'm saying when I'm saying presidential election. It's inauguration. See, I get confused with that, though, don't I? But you will find it too to Donald Trump be president of America. We see what happens there. That's going to cause a good bit of shockwaves around the place, especially with the deportation policy he's going to implement, etc., etc. We see what happens. There's going to be a lot of reaction to that. But we see. It's just a lot of stuff happening in the world, in the wider world, outside of Ireland. I wouldn't mind what Ben Shapiro does now. I wouldn't pass much marks to him. Yeah. I hear the Daily Wire is not having a good time. One of the staff left the Daily Wire. So, like, nobody really cares what Ben Shapiro says. Maybe a few years ago he was relevant. I don't think anybody gives a shit what Ben Shapiro says nowadays. To be totally honest with you. But the Israeli government, particularly, just speaking of Israel in general, obviously they would want a friendly kind of government. I don't know. I don't think the Israelis is that happy with the situation at the moment in Syria, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, but yes. Yeah, the Daily Wire is not what they used to be. I remember the big thing back, it was huge and conservative media back in, say, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, not even 20 years ago, 10 years ago. It was a big thing, was the most popular thing, etc., etc. But not now, it's only every once in a while you hear them bring up. Because the only thing really Ben Shapiro can do, he can only debate college kids, pretty much. People in college. He couldn't debate normally Joe on the street. But he can debate somebody that's in college, if that makes sense. That's teenagers in college. But he couldn't debate a real person question on things that makes any sense. But anyway, that's what's happening in Syria. But as I said, the main thing for me, and I know people ask me what's my opinion on it, who do I want to be in government, etc., etc. The thing I would say to you, I have really, it's not up to me, I suppose, to decide. It's up to the people of Syria to decide And I just want peace and stability in Syria. And the same with any other country around the world. The people will be at each other's throats and shooting each other and killing each other. It's the same here. It's the same everywhere. I don't want people to be killed because again, life is a gift, and I think we all need to acknowledge that it's a gift, and um, throwing away people's lives, etc., is something that, and particularly as Christians, it's a sacred. Life is sacred. Um, we should be always trying to promote understanding. But I know it's difficult. If you get 100 people, as for Tret, he said earlier, if you get 100 people in the room, everybody's not going to agree on anything. And eventually people go, if you lock them in the room for a few months or whatever, they're going to be at each other's throats, in a few weeks' time, but we always try and find some kind of understanding. Until maybe it's time for change. Yeah, it's a long time. Like his father was before him. You have to remember his father was there. I think they said 50 something years. So pretty much when probably Syria gained independence. Because Syria back in the day, the same as really everything was under the Ottoman Empire uh, before the First World War, etc. Then obviously the Ottoman Empire collapsed after the First World War. Syria became, I think, under France, Jordan and Palestine, etc., in the modern day Israel. But British occupied territories, British overseas colonies, pretty much. Same as France was Syria, was and Aleppo too was French colonial holdings. So pretty much after they probably gained independence after I think it was the 50s, was it the 50s that Syria gained independence? His father took over, and pretty much it's been that since then. Pretty much that's all I know as much as Syria's history in terms of that. So it's a long time. So it's pretty much like a monarchy, pretty much what was happening with Assad. Um, because his father died and he took over. I think then when he would have continued, I suppose that's probably yes. But as I say, as long as some kind of stability is brought back and some kind of understanding, that's the main. Because again, 13 years has been armed conflict for 13 years. I remember when I was first young, seeing it on the news, etc., etc. Like a lot of people died. Like must be over 2 or 3 million people have died in Syria over them 13 years. As I say, it's a lot of slaughter. And as long as there's some kind of peace now, because again, having a lot of people, like as I say, it must be in the millions. People suffering things that it should be brought to an end long ago. But uh, like it or not, it's brought to an end now. Hopefully, it doesn't start again. But that's all I say about that. I suppose at the moment. But that's just the way I say. I know some people would be like, "Oh yeah, this and that," But the main thing for me is just understanding, like peace and some kind of civilized life for people there too. The same if it was happening here. The people could just go about their daily day life and not have to worry about being bombed and killed. Uh, but I suppose I'm have a different way. I suppose of seeing the world. Um, sorry, but this just looking at something now. Probably just the usual YouTube thing. Be totally honest. See, the problem with my YouTube live streams, I'll show you now. I've showed this before. I don't know what it is about this computer. It won't let me scroll up. See, like I can't scroll up. You see this comment here, TikTok up feeling this. You can see up here as far as that. Like I can't go up any further than that. Or something like that. So that's the problem with me at the moment. So I can only see. So I can't do anything. I'd love to go back just to check, but I can't see. It's probably just YouTube something and like have YouTube bots and stuff like that. They'll be going around doing things. Like as you see, I'm too busy yapping to see anything. Um, but yeah, no, I would just say if that does happen, just try and repost it again. I know it's awkward to do it, but that's all I would say because there's pretty much nothing I can do. I don't think because YouTube can do these things. Um, mhm. Oh, we see, yeah, but definitely Donald Trump is more pro Israel than probably Joe Biden. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it does seem to be. Uh, but again, the main thing is just stop the conflict in the Middle East, stop what's happening in Gaza, stop all these people being bombed, children and women being, because that's the majority of people who've been killed is children, innocent children and women, uh, with their babies, etc., etc. Something like you wouldn't dream of, what's happening. So hopefully that's the one thing I want, regardless of anything else. Uh, we have to put a stop to it. Uh, Interesting. Like in Canada, I think they were talking about taking people's weapons. Uh, I'm not too sure about that and giving them to Ukraine. I can't remember exactly. We definitely know. I don't think Donald Trump will be doing anything with the. Isn't the Second Amendment in the United States Constitution the right to bear arms? I don't foresee him doing anything about that. Without anything. I don't think any government of the United States will ever do anything because it's enshrined in the U.S. Constitution and it's nothing really. Americans won't give up their arms or out to fight to be totally honest. So I don't think that's ever going to happen. So I say that's pretty safe in the U.S. Constitution. Um, I don't think that ever changed because Joe Biden tried to do it and it didn't go well. So I don't ever foresee that happening in the United States as far as the next 50 years. Anyway, I don't foresee it. Yeah, it's a local GA thing. It was for charity. I remember one year it was for charity. Like you bought the show to half of the proceeds went to charity. So that's what I did. And it's nice. It's nice Christmas shopper. Like I've other Christmas tops and stuff, of course. But it's a nice Christmas thing. Should honestly be wearing the Santa Christmas one. Now, there's the Santa one. Like now with the picture of Santa dressed up as Santa, I think unfortunately. But it's pretty good. Finland football jersey. What is the one I have? No, it isn't the Finland. I know I've seen them in Finland when I was there. Didn't get one, but remember the one I have is kind of like Finland. It says Finland. It's not football jersey, but I remember seeing one. I remember seeing a good view of them. I should have probably got them, but I don't know. Finland. Speaking of Finland, it's time to move to Finland for the latest gossip. It's that time of the stream again. Let me see. Sorry, I had to just check something here. So there's a few things to talk about in relation to Finland at the moment. Let me see. I'm just checking something. Just give me 2 seconds. Sorry. This is the worst thing about live stream. You have to do multiple things at once. Well, I don't know what to say that one, but thank you for those. Let me see. Well, sorry, I'm just doing things off the screen here. Off the screen, off the screen, on the screen. Sorry, not off the screen. But yeah, no. Is there anything else I'm forgetting now? Because there's other things I want to discuss. Probably other things I've got. No, there was other. Sorry, there's just one other thing. Where am I? Pew. Sorry, give me a second. Tony's having a good laugh at it. Where am I? Sorry, I'm joking. See, the worst thing about it, me, usually in the morning, like surprisingly, actually in the morning, I'm actually more glued into what's happening. But then when the day goes on, I get tired. That makes any sense. Because it's a long time. Like you might not think, but it's a long time since 6:30 this morning. You might not think it, but it is an awful long time. You could say it's a long way to Tipperary. Sorry, everything just flashback. So yeah, the UK government earlier on. I meant to talk about this, but I completely forgot. I only talked about it there because I heard it when I was coming home on the bus. The UK government's indefinitely banned on puberty blockers for children. Now this is very welcome. Obviously, puberty blockers. We don't know the whole lot behind it. I know in the United States they're doing studies, etc., etc. But this might sound controversial, far right, etc., etc., etc. But in my opinion, it should not be given to children puberty blockers because it affects the hormones, etc. It affects their natural development. Uh, so hopefully they stick to it. Hopefully they do stick to it. Hopefully we do the same here, and this affects Northern Ireland too. Uh, but I do think they made the right decision in not allowing it to be done because we don't know the side effects to it too. Like there's not enough study, etc., on it, and not to mention too, I'm against it too, because you're pretty much changing your natural development, your body's natural development, etc., and that's not good for the body. It's not good for your mind. It's not good for anything in your body, and I do think it has side effects to it. To be told, I'm not a doctor now. Don't quote me on everything, but in my opinion, from what I'm seeing and what I've looked at and different things, and not to mention people who had this done in the United States and somebody have said they regretted doing it, etc., they regretted using puberty blockers, etc. So I do think this is a logical decision, and I do think the Irish government should follow suit because I don't know the Irish government really had never really stated their direct opinion on it. So that's my I suppose, and just you know, but that's just me. Yeah, again, don't shoot me. That's what I way. Uh, Spelling mistake, yeah. It can be this. My phone's one that's slow enough. I have it a long time, so I probably should get a new one. It's just the hassle of having to put all the other details onto the other phone and stuff. It's just too much hassle. But I have to do it after I come back for the next time. I will have to do it. Uh, too much hassle. But yeah, no, I do. Hopefully, the Irish government do follow suit in that. I just wanted to briefly touch on that one when I was there. Um, Obviously, Michelle and me and Sinn Féin won't be happy with that, but because I think Sinn Féin are all for it, to be totally honest. I'm not too sure. I don't know Sinn Féin's. Don't quote me now, but I haven't really heard Sinn Féin much about it. But um, oh yeah, sorry, yeah, I just thought about it. Yeah, well, it's good that the UK government finally decided Northern Ireland is banned. I think Sinn Féin might be upset, but it's good. I don't know would they ever do it here, but it's a good. That's just my opinion. I think there's not enough scientific research, and also I'm against it first of all, too, because as I say, it's the natural development of the body, and I think it will have side effects to your other parts of the body, your brain, etc., using it because it's the natural development of the body, and it has been for the last thousands of years, hundreds of millions of years of human existence. Don't shoot me for that. Just to say anybody, Michelle Keaton. I've heard that. I don't know exactly. I know it's some kind of bed wound. I looked into that earlier on. I know it's some kind of bed wound, and I don't know. It's something to do with naming a member of God or O'Connor, something like that. I'm not too sure exactly, but there's a bed wound. I found that out. There's a bed wound. So I don't know. We see what happens, but hopefully she'll be out soon enough. That's all I say at the moment. So we don't know much more than that. Um, uh, um, I was going to touch on that, but I decided not to. Well, there was two more things I meant to discuss. Sorry. Yeah. See, I'm thinking about other stuff now because it wasn't live Saturday, and that's what's throwing me off. Because I remember hearing about different things. What am I thinking about? Sorry. See, with me with dyslexic, I tell you, I'm atrocious. Like during the morning, I'm quite as well, but apart from that, I'm total. Yeah, so this is to do with the Defence Force. I heard this the other day. And I've said the same. I didn't need figures to tell me this. This might break again. Are we fine? Yeah. Sorry, everything's lagging for some reason. Don't know why. Like I don't know why. Sometimes it's okay, and then sometimes it just lags. I think it's because how much stuff I have on the screen or something, something like that. So this is to do with the Feds. As I said, Ireland is pretty much it's worse as it can get. Like literally the bottom of the European table on the Feds. Literally, Malta nearly spends as much money on the Feds as Ireland. Just say like literally Malta. And Austria spends more, and neutral countries, etc. So pretty much Ireland's literally just nearly spending more than us. And it's bad when you see that when you literally have Malta, a small country, is spending it. Um, when you look at that, just 0.2% of the spending of the Feds. Malta 0.4. Like Malta, a small island, it's spending more on the Feds than Ireland in terms of GDP. Like let's be serious now for a second. A small island in the middle of the Mediterranean, it's spending more. But they are wrong on this. I do criticize this because Finland's the Speds. Like it's fucking insane. Like they're coping if they take it's only 2.1%. It's more like 4.5 or 5% the Fed spending. Because you don't remember they're probably not adding in the conscription costs because obviously conscription, etc., because there's cost of that is hundreds of billions a year. So it's more like it'd be pretty much in the 4 or 5% pretty much. Finland's the Fed spending, but Malta is better than us. Like Luxembourg probably has a higher Fed spending. This is pretty bad when you see this. Like it's a small country. This is our spending. Like it's a big country. Like Malta's a small country. You don't need a big army to defend Malta. But literally, the Feds forces themselves have said in the one report that the government commissioned that the Irish Defence Forces, both air, sea, and land, could not defend one county in the country. And I think they used the example as Carlow. Take example in County Carlow. They could not defend Carlow if it got attacked, basically, with the numbers they have and the money they have and the resources. So pretty much, this is pretty bad. Like, this is the national. Like we should be ashamed of ourselves really with this. The Malta has more per GDP than Ireland in this Feds. It's pretty. Like I'm sure you would agree. It is pretty. Who's on the Christmas card? Oh, the Christmas card. I'll show you now in a second. There's not that many, only my family. But it's pretty bad when you see something like that. It's generally pretty bad. Uh, it's pretty much my family. That's what it is from my father. It's of nice furs and stuff. That's pretty cool, this kind of. But that's what it is. My father's cat, etc. Um, and the foot of it there too. So that's the. It's hard to. I have a few more cards but downstairs, but it's hard. You see, you don't have that much space on the window there, and I need space of tea and stuff like that and different things. Like oftentimes I have papers and stuff. Then obviously this, and then obviously my mother's card too, and a few of my aunties and all because they're downstairs. Yeah, pretty cool. I didn't know. I thought there was a bit of the card missing when I got it, but it isn't. But that's them too. And this is just a meme from my mother saying from the cat, you know. The cat is white and clouds. Yeah, that's really it. That's all that's there. I have a few more down. I have a few more, 3 or 4 downstairs from aunties now, because I'm from the neighbours too. There's a few neighbour cards from the neighbours. But see, you couldn't fill it up because you have a light and stuff there, and then you have this here. And I'm terrified if I did put a few more on it, like it would fall down. And then obviously these things are here then too behind me, and the flags there. And then obviously that muck over there. So there's not much space. Just barely have enough space there for tea and for different things. Putting different papers down. So that's the only thing about it. So, and you wouldn't want that to fall and break or something like that, or something else to break, because the tank yoke over there got us a present. I don't know if you can see the way in the corner, but I got us a present, and that's all cracked because it fell that many times. So, but see, there's not that much space. Unfortunately, I would love to have another shelf here. Someday I probably will get it. Just have a small shelf there for different things, because it'd be a lot handier. But see, the crack, what? Oh, the crack, yeah, and I'll explain now, because they might think it's actual crack. Ooh. Like, it's seen better days this year, because it fell down multiple times. You can see all the cracks and stuff. I was given this by a person. And this is like a Soviet type thing. So you can see all the cracks because it fell down many times. Then obviously this yoke. But yeah, no, that's why that's blank. I could fit probably 2 more onto it. But I don't want to over squash it. Because there isn't generally that much place with the cards and stuff. But there is more downstairs. I might bring them up next time. I'll not go down now for them. But they are down there. So that's why I just put them there, because they're the most important ones to have up here, the Victorian side. My family's cards, etc., etc. But obviously the neighbours and stuff are important too. They have them up. Though down there beside the Christmas tree. I meant to take a picture of the Christmas tree. I didn't do that. I have to do that for it. I have the Christmas tree up a long time and didn't take a photo of it. But I'll put it up in the community post at some point. I have to do it at some point. My throat's going. Last year we wrote cards and I set them out. I should have done it this year. But the only thing that threw me off, I think, is that I had loads of things to do last month. There was a good bit on last month I had. Because see, last year I done it literally before December. I had them out before December. And I should have done it because I remember sending them to Sean and I sent them to you, I think, Fiona, too. And a few other people, too. I should have done it this year. To be totally honest, I probably should have. Because I have cards there, I could have said. But apologies for not doing it, because I should have done it. Last year I done it plenty of time. I'll do it next year. But because it's too late now to do it now, I suppose. Too much shopping about. Yeah, like it's crazy at the moment. Like it's just generally crazy. People lost their minds. Like there's people running around Cavan town at the moment. They're running around. They don't know where they're going. Like they're generally crazy. But I would say wouldn't leave it to the last minute anyway, because Christmas Eve is going to be, it's just nightmare. I wouldn't want to be in Blanchardstown. Like Blanchardstown's probably just packed. Like it's insane. They all come out of the mouse holes. Like during the summer there, I remember a few times when I was going to walk in the morning at 8 o'clock. You wouldn't see a sinner. You wouldn't see a sinner on the streets of Cavan town. I remember one morning I walked up at 8:30 when the schools were off during the summer. I was picking up rubbish and stuff like that. Jesus Christ, there wasn't one around. And now if you go up at 8:30 now in Cavan town, the main street Cavan town, you couldn't walk up it with the amount of people going around. And half of these people don't even know where they're going, because they're just wandering around senselessly, like just looking for this and looking for that. It's crazy stuff. Like people just lose their mind during Christmas and buying stuff. It's insane. Like it's genuinely insane. Stuff. Like it's insane. I wouldn't want to be up in Dublin now, if you totally answer, because it's just probably just insane. But I'll be up to Dublin after the New Year. So that's the thing. So it'll probably be still insane when I go up. But, yeah, that seems what people do. Like they don't go out at all during the year. Like that's what seems to happen around here. Like, they seem to all go out at Christmas. Like, that seems the time to go out. Like you wouldn't see them. Like half of the people I seen, I knew from my growing up, except they lived beside me or they were down the street from me. And you wouldn't see them half the time. Now all of a sudden they're out. You see them all the time in the shops, going to places and stuff like that. Like I don't know, is it that must be some people must just not go shopping at all to Christmas. Like that seems to be what's happening in Cavan, at least in some cases. They save all their money into Christmas. They must have the pennies too. I don't know. But because that's the only time I see people really with total answer. But no, it's generally insane. Like I do think people just lose the mind of it. I know it's a fun time of year and it's a good thing. I suppose it's good to have a laugh and stuff like that. But generally, some people just lose the plot at Christmas in terms of going around spending stuff. Like, just lose the mind. What was the other thing I was going to show? There was something else I was going to show before I went into a long line show. That's why too, yeah. I don't know where people get all the money. Like I spent about 300 or so on my family and neighbours and stuff like that, which is not too bad. I've often heard people, as I said to you, I don't know what you hear at the time earlier on. There's somebody I work for, like with in the council, like there's no one councilman, he does bins, etc. Like he'd be getting a decent enough wage, but he has two young, he's a son that's about 10. His daughter's a bit old, doing the leaving sort of around, maybe give or take 18, something like that. And they're looking for new iPhones, like literally the highest quality iPhones is of thousands. I don't know how much he said. And I feel sorry for him because he has to fork out. He could be forking out, God only knows, 5,000, 6,000 on the two of them, like just for the phones. That's not anything else. So, it's an expensive time for people who have children. Because years ago, I was happy with a few Lego things. Like every Christmas, I get, like, there's always been the tradition I get Legos, like, in my stocking. It's still to this day. I'm 21, like Lego stock and like Lego in the stock and stuff like that. Like I'm happy. It's only €10 or so for these small things or so. But it's the thought that counts in my opinion. So I'm not that fussed. But compared to years ago when I got these when I was younger, things like that, I was happy with them. A few bits of Lego and stuff like that. That's what I got for Christmas. Maybe a short and things like that. Nothing too elaborate. I got a PlayStation 3 one Christmas, but nothing too over the top. But what young people want nowadays is quite insane. They're looking for new iPhones. It's just madness, total madness. It's insane. And it's really odd just to show off, to bring to school, to say, oh, I got this and that. Like I never was about that. I didn't care really about that. But there's people like that. So mine's a big deal. Still people say there's even teenagers to that. Yeah, there's some people that do that. Yeah, I know some of them at college to do that. No, I'm not at college, but I've heard of people doing that. There's a few who used to go to my school does that kind of. But it's dangerous, I suppose, in Dublin, like going around to do that. Not so much maybe in Cavan, but in Dublin too. Particularly young, there was 2 or 3 young women, 18 or so. Like, that's the most dangerous thing. Going around drunk, to a few pubs and stuff like that. In the middle of the night, it's not the most recommended thing to do. Let's put it that way. That's just the thing. But there's some people, I've often heard people doing it, yeah. I wouldn't do it. I never drank, would you believe? I always kept the pledge. I never drank and I never smoked or anything. I'm a lot healthier for doing it. I'm a lot happier too for doing it. You get what I'm saying? I never done it. So thankfully I never done it. I never took a drink ever. So I'm very proud of myself for doing it. I know many young people can say they ever took a sip or anything like that. So thankfully I never did it. I'm a lot healthier for it, thankfully. because it just kind of does. Especially some people do get addicted. I've often seen people get addicted. Oh God, they took the first few sips, and then they're drinking every night alone in the house, and that's the most saddest thing when you're drinking on your own too. Uh, Drinking your sorrows away and stuff like that's not good. But yeah, but you get what I'm saying. Yeah, see, that's the dangerous thing. Yeah, especially in Dublin, not so much in the country, but again, the one thing in the countryside, if you were doing that, say, you could end up in the ditch. That's the thing could happen. Um, but yeah, but I do say to people who are going out and stuff, be responsible. Don't drink and drive. And I think that's obvious to people just to say. It's very obvious. Just don't do that. I think you man. What was it? Sorry. Just speaking of drinking and driving. Sorry. Not in terms like. What do you call him? That used to be the Nia Boylan show. The Nia Boylan. Yes. 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 He had a bit of an incident the other day on the I think in some part of Dublin, Nia Boylan. There was a drink driver and stuff like that. I don't know if anybody see that. Not in my comfort zone. But see, the thing about it is, who could afford really to go? As Ford tried to just say that it's about, yeah, I think he said 3,000, was it something like that? Like it would be like it's dear enough. It's not like years ago. I remember watching an old video in the 40s, and not the 40s. Sorry, not the 40s. What I'm talking about in the 60s, and there was a few like a few cents for a pint of Guinness or something like that. It was only a pound or something like that. Like imagine if them people now were living in the 60s, see how much the pint of a drink is cost, etc. They go mad. Uh, yeah, like Anaya Boylan was in. Well, he wasn't in an accident, but he seen it. He seen somebody drinking and driving. Like it's quite dangerous too. Especially because again, it's not just yourself you're putting in danger. You're putting other members of the public in danger. Uh, and that's unforgivable. Putting, take for example, a mother with a small child in a car, just minding their own business, and you end up killing them, and the person that was drinking lives, etc. There's been many cases about that, and it's unfortunate. It's so sad to see that, uh, because innocent members of the public have their lives taken away from people just irresponsible, and that's just the thing. When the majority of people are responsible, they do the right thing, they don't drink and drive and stuff like that. I think it just goes without saying, but there's still people to do it. There's a person there about last month or so. He went into the ditch up by what they call Banyao, up that way. He was drugged. Thankfully, he didn't kill himself or anything like that, but he went into the ditch and he was found in the ditch the next morning, asleep in the car. But that was it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But still, imagine if he, God forbid, he hit a tree or he hit something. Thankfully, he just ended up in the shock, pretty much, with the cow stuck in the shock and him asleep in the wheel. But apart from that, he didn't kill anybody. That's the main thing. Not the way, yeah. But there's people like that, but no, but it's a dangerous business now. Um, what was it say? Yeah, sorry, I was going to show you something else. Uh, why is this not working? Yeah, I wouldn't use TikTok. I don't like TikTok. I never really liked it. Too kind of fast paced and stuff like that. And not even that China too. I never really want to go near China or the Chinese company. But again, at the end of the day, Facebook does the same thing to you. You know, Apple, yeah. Oh, but no, the thing about me with new phones, though, even though I could go out now and get a new phone, I'm just happy enough. Like, I'm able to use the phone to ring or get a call or whatever. You know, you know, I suppose as long as it works, that's the main thing. But I will get one sooner because I do need to get one. Uh, uh, Give me a moment, however. Where did I see this? Like, I wouldn't mind, but I only thought about it there and I can't remember. Oh, here we are. Sorry, I missed some of the stuff probably there. We never bothered. Yeah, I would see. Sometimes people, you know, Joe Biden moment. No, I just wanted to talk about. I seen this on OT yesterday, and I suppose just sort of give my on it, I suppose, in a bit. So this to do. So this is just literally in the middle of a road, just to say to you. So this happens more than you think, to be totally honest. So this is just a back country road. As you can see, it's just an only road. People just turn up and fuck things onto the road. Now this is obviously industrial waste. Now it's not like a household. Sometimes you get people just fuck couches onto the road, like literally in the back country roads. There was one morning I was going to walk at 8:30, and it came in at 9 o'clock that a woman couldn't get out of her side road. The reason why, because people have fucked loads of tiles under the middle of the road, and she was bringing the couch to complain about it that it wasn't lifted, etc., etc. And that they were on the road in general. Like there was about 100 tiles. Like it was obviously industrial, because obviously no only Joe turned up and just came in with the cow and fucked out 100 tiles. It's obviously a big dump truck was up and came along and just fucked it down. It's the same as this. It's like definitely 100%. But I will tell you, I often had to look through piles of stuff like this for information, for documents who done this, etc. Because this is hundreds of thousands of euro worth of stuff we had to get rid of. And this happened many times in Cavan, like big piles like this turned up on roads, in ditches, etc., etc. And it cost the taxpayer a bomb. I remember it happened in Kingscourt one time, up in Kingscourt, in a forest. Somebody came and dumped loads of industrial waste. And good God Almighty, it cost a lot. Like it was about 3 or 4 bundles of this. Like it was a lot of work. Um, it cost it was about nearly 2 million or something like that to get rid of it all. It must have been, there was 1 million. I think it was 1.5. I don't quote me. It's a long time ago. It was before I was on the council. It was about, it probably was something like that, 1.5. But I remember seeing it, like it was a lot. And I often had to go through piles like this, like just to go through it. Like you see these bits of stuff, just to see if there's a name on it, if there's a address. Because at the end of the day, unless the CCTV cameras on the road showing who went up with it, and even if it went to court, say for example, me, County Council brought this boat in the court who done it, if they had evidence, etc., etc., the judge at the end of the day usually would finally go in favour of the people that dumping this rubbish, and it just sets us. And again, it's shameful too because it's on just the road. Like it is household. Well, you can see here it's kind of household stuff, but more industrial kind of stuff because there's a lot of stuff. Like there's not much. Like usually when you see this, like I'm used to going through all this. Like the majority of this stuff is useless. Going by this, it's only when you see maybe plastic bags, there might be some document or something in it. Because you'd be surprised. Some people are stupid to forget about the document. I remember one time they had documents. Many times they had documents. I remember one time they completely fucked themselves one person, but there was nothing ever done about it, unfortunately, because it was all forgotten about. That one time it was like a box like this. Like it was a box, but it was kind of like a wooden box. And it just happened to look into it, etc., etc. And they had loads of bank statements, etc., etc., showing who they were and their address, etc., etc., from the bank account, etc., etc. So pretty much, they were caught red-handed, but obviously nothing was ever done about it. It wasn't the size of this, but it was a few bags, and it just happened to be at the bottom of it. And nothing was ever done about it. I don't think anything was ever done about it. But long story short, and I know who the person is, so I'm able to watch him if I ever come across him again, so I know who he is, and I know where he lives. I know that sounds very threatening, but it isn't documented that who the fellow is. It was put down on paper, but it wasn't the scale of this. But this is a lot, just to say. But the majority of this stuff is useless. You can see there. There's nothing really you can tell. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like imagine too, like often they jump it into shocks, etc., etc. But they jumped in the middle of the road, just blocking off people. It just sets the stuff. But yeah, so there's obviously things like this. I often have to go through stuff, and it's obviously a pain to go through it. It's an awful pain to go through it, and it's cost the taxpayer a huge amount of money. So so what I say to people, if you ever see somebody doing this, to do report it, because it's not only a nuisance for the only people, especially during the road. It's a nuisance for the taxpayer, because the taxpayer is forking this money out to clean it up. Oh, I missed half the stuff there. Tip, yeah. Huge money involved. Yeah, I know this. Yeah, there's huge money involved. But see, the problem is, and there was many problems here in Cavan too with it, that people employ people, right? They employ people to do their house, do it up, right? And they pay them to get rid of the rubbish and they don't. We had a case like that before. That there was an elderly woman one time got her house done up, right? She thought the people were genuine enough. There were self-employed people, right? And she paid them for to get rid of the stuff, bill like they were taking up the floors. And this is back a few years ago now. And she paid them for it. It was not like she didn't pay. She was scabbing out, not being, wanting to give money, etc., etc. But she paid them for it, and that ended up on the middle of the side of the road, somehow, pretty much. What I'm trying to say. And then they pretty much blamed her for it. The people who like dumped it, the people that she paid the dump it, blamed her for it. That she didn't pay it, and there was a whole mess of it. But thankfully, they were prosecuted. They were prosecuted. That was one case they were prosecuted. Because usually, when this goes up to court, I was in court a few times. Well, not for myself, but I was in the public gallery watching it. And the people get off it. The judge blames us, the council people, for bringing them up. I remember one time the judge scoured us for bringing one of these people up. He scoured us. He said, "How dare you more or less bring these people up that are wasting taxpayers' money and not doing the right thing?" Because I have to pay for my bins. I'm paying 40 something euro a month for the bins here, like a black bin and a green bin. It's not fair for people that have more money than me, because these people that do this, because I see it every day, they have more money than you and me will ever have. There's one person I said he has a big mansion. We came across him. I went to his house. He has a big mansion. He has 2 or 3 cars. He has a big land. He has more money. He has millions. And he's dubbing, he's choosing to dub, and he just says he's because he doesn't want to pay for it. And he said it straight to my face, along with other people there. He said that he didn't want to pay it. He didn't want to pay to get rid of his rubbish. So nothing was ever done about it. That was the greatest thing. Nothing was ever done. Because again, he has a lot of money. There's no really point bringing him up, because he just get off with it. Because he could get all the lawyers he wants, and there's nothing really can be done about it. It's just insane. But I did feel sorry for that old woman that time, because it was a horrid shock for her, I presume, having council people coming to the door blaming her for it, and then obviously we found out it was people contract to do it, and they didn't get rid of it. Like, it's a whole disgraceful stuff. So. Hello, Daniel. Sorry, I meant to say hello to you. Sorry, I was too busy yapping. But I could write the book on it, because I see it every day. Not to the extent of that, but you see obviously bags being dumped to couches. It's quite insane in some things. There was a heater dumped into a river one time a few years ago. Like, one of them old heaters. They're just fucked into the river. It's quite insane what people do. Like, it's disgusting too, because again, just to say, it takes a lot of money out of the council too, because that money could be used for public projects, for public use, to build footpaths, different things like that. That money's going to clean up basically somebody else's shit. And it's not fair too when people that are volunteering, to do it too, like voluntary groups, tidy towns groups. It's not fair on them having to go out and do it too. The majority of voluntary groups, etc., do more work than the councils are doing in terms of cleaning up these things, and it shouldn't be the case. But again, as I say, the problem is years ago we used to have hundreds of men doing this. There's only about maybe 20 of us now doing it. There's not many of us. So, that's the thing. So we don't have the manpower, because again, we're relying on people to volunteer to do it, which shouldn't be the case. Now, obviously, we shouldn't have to go digging through rubbish, etc., and wats, etc., because it's all for dirty shit. With wats, piss, etc. Like, it is just generally the truth. It is wats, piss, and all that. It's just shit. It's not the nicest, cleanest job, but it's a job. It's a job that you have to do, I suppose. But it's disgraceful that somebody would do it. That's what I'm trying to say. And the majority of these people could buy the place, could buy the dump. That's just the saddest thing about it. They could just generally buy the dump. They have the money. Like, it's not like they're struggling. I've come across 1 or 2 people that are struggling. You couldn't blame them, because they're doing their best and they're trying to pay the bills. And you wouldn't really blame them for it, because they couldn't afford it. They couldn't afford to pay for bins and stuff. I don't blame them. But it's the thing when people do have the money, like that man with 2 cars, with a big land and a house and a few million in the bank, you're not that pleased when you see that kind of thing. To be totally honest with you, you're not that pleased when you see that kind of stuff. And just saying straight up that he didn't want to pay for it. That's just straight up. Not that he didn't have the money to pay for it, he didn't want to pay for it. But that's what was said. And again, I could go on and on and on. Yeah, like, it is a problem. Like, people do pay people to do it and things like that. Like, that woman didn't know they were going to fuck it in the middle of the side of the road and stuff like that. But yeah, thankfully they found out who it was and stuff like that. All that. But it's quite shameful too, because at the beginning they thought it was her that done it, that she made them do it or something like that. But anyway, thankfully it was found out, and they were prosecuted. This is back a long time ago now, but This is before I even was on it. I heard a lot of stories about it, but that's what happened. Yeah, it's nasty stuff. Like I have to check through bags and stuff like that, and the dead rats and stuff, nasty stuff. Because it's just nasty. Um, a few times we came across dead dogs and dead like puppies, dogs and stuff in bags and cats. It's not the nicest job, but it's a job that has to be done in the public interest. We have to keep the country clean and tidy as best as possible. We owe it to the people of Cavan to do that. I'm sure people agree. We owe it to them to pay the taxes. We owe it to them to keep it as clean as possible. And it's a difficult job, especially because again, years ago there was loads of people. Nowadays, there's a few of us that do an area. It's just they want people to work for nothing, pretty much, quite literally, to just clean up these areas and stuff. Yeah, like that's what happened. People throw dead dogs. Like when the people, it was a thing years ago. It still happens to this day. Like they put the kittens of a cat into the bag and suffocate them and then just throw them into a river. So it still happens. Not as common maybe as it was, say, 10 years ago. It still happens occasionally. It still happens. Like occasionally does still happen. I've come across it a good few times. Not as many times as it might take. Maybe 4 times, 5 times, give or take. But still not the nicest, especially when you first open the bag. Underground tunnels. Which underground tunnels? Which? There's not really any. Like there's tunnels. There's tunnels under Cavan town, but who God only knows how they get under them. Like there's tunnels because there used to be a jail back 600 years ago. So there beside the bus station in Cavan, up in St. Phelim's, it's a school there now. Used to be a jail there. God only knows how long, but there's tunnels under Cavan, but who knows? I never heard of anybody in my life getting into them. I presume they just collapsed at this stage because they're hundreds of years old. But that was the thing back then. Like there's tunnels under Cavan town, but I never, in all my life, I never heard of somebody going into them, or I never heard of anybody finding an entrance to a tunnel. But they do exist. They do exist in Cavan, unless they're all collapsed. They do exist under Cavan town. They go sell tunnels, pretty much, what I said. Yeah, there's probably secret tunnels out, but we do know they're there because there used to be an old jail there. Like there's tunnels, like there's definitely tunnels in Finland. I was in one of them. I was in a nuclear bunker. I was in an air raid bunker. I was in bunkers. Like I was in Finnish military bunkers. I was in them. There's tunnels literally hundreds of ground. Like I had to go down about 20 flights of stairs to go into the air raid bunker. That's about, God knows how far. Like an air raid bunker, like for air raids, etc., etc. Like it's still an active one. 20 staircases nearly to go down to it. Like hundreds of like I don't know, hundreds of meters under the ground. Like I was in tunnels because they're all connected, some way or another. And then the nuclear bunker too. It's just huge. It's just a big, huge place. Like I was in a nuclear bunker. They have many of them in Helsinki. Like they use them. Like the one the nuclear bunker. Funny enough, they use it for underground sports when there's not in use as a nuclear facility. Like nuclear bucketing. They have it used for other purposes. There's videos on YouTube about it. It's interesting. I wasn't in that sack one, but there's other ones. There's about 4 or 5 big, huge bunkers for nuclear loose. Like there's 5 nuclear war, etc., etc. But there's loads. There's about 800 or so air raid bunkers in Helsinki, like for the whole population. Same as the nuclear bunkers. In all of Finland, there's about 70,000 bunkers. Like there's basically just tunnels everywhere. There's bunkers everywhere. But yeah, I was in one of them, so I know I know about bunkers as well as a bit and tunnels and stuff like that. But yeah, no, it's even from the Parliament House in Finland. They did say there was tunnels going from the Parliament House to the Presidential Palace in Finland, just down by the sea. And then there's tunnels going to other parts of Finland too. They was there during the Second World War, before when the Parliament was built in the 1930s. I didn't see them tunnels. Now, obviously, they're just for state of emergency, etc., etc. But there is tunnels, like there's loads of tunnels underneath there too. But I presume they connect some way to the nuclear bunkers, etc., etc. But yeah, there's just full of tunnels everywhere. It's the same with Suomenlinna, the sea fortress. There's hundreds of tunnels underneath the ground in Suomenlinna, the World Heritage Site, like from the Sour days, etc., etc., from the Russians and the Swedish. I didn't. I looked into some of the tunnels because it goes way under the ground, etc., etc. Just hundreds and hundreds of tunnels, and like underneath the walk. It's insane, especially for like literally 700 years ago and stuff like that. It was insane that they could do such a thing, like tunnel that way. And the same with the ones in Cavan, but I assume they were long collapsed, gone. No bunkers. Yeah, we love Finland then because there's tons of bunkers. No, there's tons of them, like quite literally tons of them everywhere. As I say, in Helsinki alone, there's about 700 or so, give or take, around that in the greater Helsinki area. As I say, there's 70,000 in Finland alone. Like that's just air raid bunkers. That's not counting nuclear bunkers, etc. Boats in Vietnam, yes. Um, um, oh, you asked me. Oh, American, yeah, the Vietnam War. It would be considered, I suppose, because it didn't really go well. Um, you could say Pearl Harbor too and stuff like that. You could say 9/11 too, I suppose. There's a lot of things you could say in terms of American history, excuse me. But yeah, no, the ones in Cavan, I never heard of anybody. I presume they're long collapsed because they're hundreds and hundreds of years old. I presume they're just collapsed in and just gone. That's what it. So I don't think anybody will ever find them. If they are, they're just disintegrated. Was oh my life? There is such thing because I remember surveys done and there was shows there was one there. But they're long gone by this stage. I say they're long collapsed in probably. But that's just the thing. I don't know about around here. That's really hard. The book, like when we talk about bunkers and we talk about tunnels, etc. That's all I can think about around here in Cavan. The one in Cavan town. There's not really in any other towns that don't take. As far as I can remember. But yeah, it's an interesting history in St. Valens there. But yeah, especially when you go to if you want modern day tunnels, etc., you just go to Finland. There's too many of them. Yes, I think we all know what you're going to say, Gordon. But go ahead. Say up in Mead, there's probably a good bit. Well, thank you for that. But I say up in Mead, there's a lot of like tunnels and stuff like that, old tunnels, because Mead years ago and still to this day, I think there's a lot of mining in Mead, particularly, and probably other parts of the country. That's old abandoned mine shafts, things. Yes, I think we all know what you're going to say. Okay. Yes. Yes. Yes, we all could have. Yeah, Brian read the script. Yeah. Oh, well, I know the one place you go for the pillboxes. Now, there's one down here from the Second World War. I think I showed you before. Is no, you don't go to there. You don't go to Armenia. I think I've seen it. Yeah, but Albania. Go to Albania. You see all the pillboxes or bunkers, kind of. No, it's kind of bunkers. Would you describe as bunkers? Yeah. There's one here from the Second World War down there. It's used by the Irish Army. I showed it before. I think many times, but still kept here. Because obviously the bridge down here in Butlersbridge was the only bridge really across the Anna Lee, which is the river here. And obviously the main thing for the Irish Free State, like not Irish Free State, the Irish Republic at that stage, was the British. They were more worried about the British than the Nazis taking over. So they planned to blow the bridge. I explained it someday. I will show you again. I don't know if anybody ever see it, but I'll show you again what I got. Which? I don't know what you mean by. Yeah, well, Albania used to be a communist dictatorship, and the military and the went for the West and built 60,000 or something bunkers, which were no addition because they wouldn't even connect it. Like imagine building bunkers and stuff like that, and they're not even connected. They wouldn't even connect it to anything. So basically, they have to hold out for whatever they had if the war invaded. Doesn't make any sense. At least if they were connected, you could resupply each other, etc., etc. But, but that's communism for you. They just waste money like that. Fed stuff, yeah. I need to go to one of them Erwin signs. Just thinking about, like, you've probably seen them along the coast from the Second World War. It says Erwa. There's ones in Donegal, not in Cavan, no, because obviously not the coast. But I have to go to some. There's one in Holt, I think, somewhere. I was in Holt. I should have looked at it, but I didn't look at it at the time. I have to go to one of them sometime. Like, I think it says Erwa and the number of it. It's basically for the Nazis. When the Nazis came over here, except they say this is a neutral country. I never seen one of them like in person. I seen them online, etc. But ahead, yeah. Well, they'll be on the coast, not in Cavan, because usually the Nazi bombers will come in from Germany, etc. Because again, well, they did bomb Dublin, etc. But obviously, there was no such thing as look up your phone and stuff like that. You kind of just had to tell where you were, stuff like that. So you get what I'm saying. And that was the only way really to say, this is the hour. But I think there's 30 or 40 of them on the whole country that are well looked after. I think the one in Bray Hedges, you were saying, I think we done that we painted it. Yeah, I think so. Yes, I agree. Let's go, Brandon. I agree. Is there anything else? Sorry, I'm too busy yapping. All the yapping. But I suppose that's what life is about, having a yap. I know that sounds a bit wrong, but yeah, having the gossip, yeah. Moving swiftly, I know. What is happening now? Oh dear. What is this independent groups? Does anybody know? Sorry, I'm a bit stupid. Like these independent groups, like Carl Nolan's joining some yoke. Some yoke. The technical group, independent technical group, what's this? So I'm doting and stupid. I don't know. I don't know. It's a long story. A lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. Mainly the fellow from the Social Democrats, pretty much. I don't know if you know, but he pretty much was war profiteering, pretty much. Nice as possible. That's pretty much that's pretty much it. Apart from that, obviously the things in the Middle East, that's about it. Not really much. Government discussion, formation, etc. What is happening here? Oh, people before profit are having a mental breakdown in Northern Ireland. They're literally having a mental breakdown over puberty blockers being banned in Northern Ireland. So literally they're having a breakdown. There you go. Oh yeah, but the Irish Freedom Party, like I think a lot of, like I was up there. I'm not too sure. I'm not going to say too much because I'm not too sure what's happening. But I do think a lot of people left. What I've been told, again, I've been told a good few things. That a lot of people left and pretty much trying to set up their own group. That's pretty much it. Apart from that, I don't know much else. But I wish them all the best, of course. But I'm not going to say too much because I could be wrong in that. That's what I've been told. So, and I suppose it's not appropriate for me to comment on it. So yeah. But we wish them all the best, of course. We wish you all the best. Also, the Twitch recap. It's funny. Just to say, Twitch put out. I don't know if anybody watches Twitch here. I know Twitch is such a god. What do you call it? A god. What would you call it? I don't know what you would describe it. It's a godforsaken place, really, nowadays, modern Twitch. Years ago, it was all about gaming, gaming stuff, gaming videos, etc., live streams. Nowadays, it's just literally the adult hub 2.0. Like, quite literally, it is. So that's why I don't watch Twitch. And it reflects it. Because literally, do you want to know how much time I watch Twitch compared to YouTube? I wish YouTube could tell me how much time I watch YouTube, etc., etc. Do we want to know? how much time all throughout the year I watch you like Twitch from January to November. Have a guess. Yeah, that happens. It happens on YouTube too. It happens all the time. Marjorie Taylor Greene got swatted, the congresswoman, um, and one of the people, the SWAT team that was responding to her, they end up killing somebody. Like they end up getting into an accident, killing some poor woman by mistake. Not shooting her, but getting into an accident on the way to the call. Basically, that makes sense. That's a congresswoman. That's a different, but it still happens. It happens from time to time. But it's more YouTube really thing. Not many people get swatted on Twitch notice. But yeah. But what to guess? Anybody want to have a guess? No, it's a bit more, but it's only I tell you straight, it's only about 34 hours or something like that. 34, 25 hours. That's about it. Comparing to the other years, just to say, this year was the lowest there because I used to spend. It must be nearly the last one I take was nearly 70 hours or so throughout the year, which is not much. But YouTube, I must have spent probably 100 hours at least anyway. Because in the background, even when I'm walking here or doing things, I would have YouTube on watching stuff. Because you will watch, but it's not that I will. As I said, I spent 24 hours. Like the only reason I watch certain people like do gaming videos, but I wouldn't endorse too much Twitch because of the content that's on it. You know, because it's godforsaken. You know, in terms of just that kind of stuff that's happened on Twitch. Because if you want to do that kind of things like shake your ass and stuff like that, go on to some other website. You know, like Twitch was supposed to be a gaming website. That's what I'm trying to say. And that's what like all Twitch is full of nowadays. It's just that kind of stuff. And I'm not all about that kind of stuff. I'd rather just watch my gaming videos and my gaming live streams. Yeah, Brian's taking exception to that here, but no, I never watched Pokemon or anything like that. But I see that Brian is obviously on the Twitch watching that. Build the helicopter. I'm on Hilton on it. GTA Live Stream, I don't know. We see sometime we had to get back to doing game and stuff. But there's a few things I want to show you just before we go because we probably should just tip on in a few minutes. I have to get my haircut tomorrow, so hopefully all goes well in that. What am I fucking taking about? No, I'm on the wrong thing altogether. Yeah, my channel used to be, yeah. That's you're right in saying that, yeah. If you were forward to that. But to see if you had the thing about gaming is you need to have loads of time on your hand, if that makes any sense. Like a few hours, like if you were like when I was at school and stuff, that was a lot easier. But when you're walking and stuff, it's just a nightmare. you won't get the time to record like gaming videos and stuff like that. When you were younger, you had time and stuff like that. It'd be different if I was in like a full time YouTuber or something like that. You could have time to ask about playing games. I don't know what one person described me as one time as a YouTuber, like in terms of the channel and stuff like that. It was a weird thing that they didn't describe me as a political YouTuber. I can't think of what the word they used to describe me, but the more or less, because I literally talked with potholes and roads, etc., etc., like the most smallest thing imaginable. That's a huge one. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. We're getting thousands from Finland, but we're not getting thousands from YouTube. You see, working for the Finns is good money. Moving on swiftly along. Yeah, but YouTube can like people have built the queers and stuff on YouTube. It's not something I was ever interested in. I'm happy just working my 9 to 5 job. I'm happy doing that, and then just doing this in the evenings and stuff, relaxing and not relaxing, but talking about issues, etc., etc. I never really never really saw it. Like I'm not really pushing. Like I could generally go out in 100, put all 100 million efforts into it. But I never really was. I never really wanted to just get money from social media, etc. etc. I always wanted to kind of do something along with that. Instead of getting paid that makes for social media, I wanted to just work a 9 to 5. I never was about that kind of thing with YouTube and stuff like that. If that makes any sense. I know a lot of people who would want to do that kind of thing because you could do a lot of stuff because then you can just focus on what you're doing instead of going and working a 9 to 5, then coming home in the evenings and stuff. Like it is tiring. I'm not even as a young person like me. It is tiring to kind of do all that and get time to do this and do that. It's not easy. It's not an easy thing. But yeah, like a lot of people do avoid themselves. I've seen this many times. People literally have their head stuck into the computer looking at how much views they get, this, that, and the other. Like I never wanted to be a part of that. I don't really care what to be doing in that regard. Like the only thing I ever wanted to hit was 1,000 subscribers because I can use the community post. Because back then I don't think you use the community post until you hit 1,000 subscribers. So after that I stopped really caring. To be totally honest. Like if a video does well, it does well. I'm happy enough. I'm not going to like literally stare at it. Like YouTube threw me down the rabbit hole a few times. Like in terms of things I've said, but I still stand over everything I said. Maybe I might annoy a few people, but I still stand over stuff I've said. But yeah, so that's the thing. Like you literally be worrying yourself. Imagine if I was a full-time YouTuber now, I'd literally be like I wouldn't get any sleep at night because you'd be too worried about the algorithm trying to get to. Because it's a strange thing, the algorithm. It could recommend you one day and the next day it could just fuck you over. It's not like just a thing it can randomly pop up and stuff like that. So you kind of just as I say, as you said, Brian, you're pretty much a slave to the system. Whatever YouTube changes, and that you're going to either succeed or fail. And but also I think it's more important too that you go out and touch grass, as they say, I suppose, and live life, get to do things, see things. Because again, sitting in your room all day is not going to make you see life or do different things and stuff like that. But that's what I like about just getting out and about and doing things. So even if I did say get 1 billion subscribers in the morning, I still would be happier just being here. Born rubbish late night. Now, you'd hope you're not meant to a crime, Tony, or we could be looking into you. Because technically that is a crime. Like, I remember one day somebody did burn. It wasn't me that went out to it, but I remember it was somebody that burned their rubbish in the backyard, and the neighbours reported them and the council went out. And they got fined for it. They got fined for it. Like they were burning like plastics and stuff. Obviously, you can't do that. So I would say to people not to do that anyway, because years ago people done it, but not nowadays. It's against the law. Boss man, fuck the world. Like take for example, the people who succeed really a lot on YouTube, and I know this probably sounds a bit jealousy. People say, "Oh, you're jealous" and stuff. I'm not jealous. I'm the person the least jealous. Though they really couldn't give a shit. But like take Bossman, fuck the world. Every day putting out clickbait, misleading people, etc., etc. And mostly children, etc., etc. He shouldn't succeed. He shouldn't have the many subscribers he have and getting the money he's making. It's an insane amount of money for misleading people. And that's the majority of YouTube. The people who succeed, the majority of people. The majority, and again, the sad thing about life too is people that are criminals and con artists and stuff like that get good money and stuff like that because they mislead people, they abuse the system, they abuse people, they abuse society. And they make a killing out of it. Like, take, for example, gangsters, drug dealers, etc., getting kids hooked on drugs. They make loads of money by when the only Joe, take, for example, who goes out and works a 9 to 5, does his best, can't afford to buy a house, can't afford to do this. It's a sad thing in the world where people who do their best and are good people who want to do good things get fucked over, and the people who do evil in the world and stuff like that. Take, for example, our politicians, the majority of them, they succeed in like they're able to own a house, etc. From being disingenuous and from different things. It's a sad thing. The same on YouTube too. The majority of people who are at the top shouldn't really be at the top. To be totally honest, because they've really just abused their way into getting there. Because I can't tell you how many times YouTubers have been found to be doing things with children inappropriately, etc., etc. The amount of times before that. It's insane. Particularly Minecraft YouTubers, they're infamous at this stage for touching children. Excuse me, but yeah, quite literally in that way, And and especially because there's such a big thing about being up in the head about this big YouTuber, about this, that, and I just never was about that life, to be totally honest. But that's all I say about that. It's not that I know some people say they should get a real job and stuff like that. I do think some people do provide some useful stuff in terms of information, etc., by being a full-time YouTuber and entertainment and stuff like that. So I don't have an issue with that. People having a job as YouTubers, etc. Because at the end of the day, if they're doing something useful, they're good, and they don't mislead people and stuff like that, I have no problem with them. But it's the people that do mislead people, like Mr. Boss with the Wind Take, for example, and do things like that. I have issues with them, but not the only Joe who's doing like making YouTube videos, and how tips and tricks and different things. I don't have an issue with that. But but it's a weird thing. Because if you would have told me when I was younger that a young like anybody on YouTube could make a living, etc., like I don't get a penny from YouTube, and thankfully I don't, because I don't want a penny for them. And I don't have any GoFundMe's or anything like that, so I don't have any buy me a coffee or anything like that, because at the end of the day I don't need it, because I'm working for my money, and you shouldn't be asking people for money. The only time I ever asked was for a charity thing one time. That was it. Because at the end of the day I don't need the money. So I have money of my own, and I shouldn't be going and asking people. But I suppose that's the issue I have too with it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, not even that, Tony. I think you're just thinking of that bit. It's the rubbish has to go somewhere, and guess who has to pay for that? You and me, the taxpayer. Like Cavan kept the council last year alone. Think about this: 1.5 million. 1.5 million. Think about that. 1.5 million just on getting rid of this rubbish that people are dumping. It makes, like, imagine that 1.5 million that could have went towards. We could have helped out the local community get a new football pitch, take for example, something like that. That's what I'm saying. But that money had to go to somebody that didn't want to pay. And the majority of people don't want to pay. Hello, Joe. I kind of work in waste management of the council. So it's cleaning up rubbish and stuff like that. Pretty much what this, cleaning up rubbish and cleaning up piles of rubbish. Different things like that. Sweeping up different, like, general waste, like general maintenance, I suppose we call it. That'd be the title of general maintenance. Like sweeping up and doing different things. But I hope you're well, Joe. I hope well as well. But it's not the nicest job. It's not like I like doing it. It's good. It's good for the county and stuff. But it's obviously not the cleanest job, And obviously, a lot of people do look down on you, because you clean the streets. Years ago there was that thing. You clean the streets, you're the lowest of the lowest, and a lot of people still say it. And I suppose a lot of people do still look at you like you're very low, like you're not on the same level as them, like you're subhuman, I suppose, to them, because you're cleaning the streets. It was a thing years ago, but I don't really care. I passed the point and game. Maybe when I started off first, that was the thing. But not many people want to go and clean the streets. If you said that to any young person now, would they rather go to college or clean the streets? A lot of people would say, I'd rather go to college. And to be totally honest, I wouldn't blame them, because, you get wet. A lot of times you get the flu, you get wet, etc., etc. It makes sense. And I suppose you have a lot of work to do, because years ago there was more people. Nowadays there's only a few of us. There's only about 20 of us for a job of 60 people, say. But years ago there might have been 200 people employed in County Cavan to do all this stuff. Now there's only about 20, 40. That's all. So you can see the difference. Yeah, at least it's so, like, I do think of that. Like, it's some kind of benefit to society, even though a lot of cases it doesn't make much of a benefit, because it kind of goes out the window. Because I can't tell you the amount of times we've lifted bags out of ditches, couches out of ditches, and then the next week we'd be called back out to the same place again to lift the same things up again. Like, that's always what happens. So pretty much it's just rinse and repeat. And there's no catching up with it, because it just keeps happening. Honest, yeah. Like, it's not the hard. Like, obviously, like, I wouldn't want to be, God forbid, a doctor or a paramedic or something like that. Like, even though people say it's good pay and stuff like that, I still wouldn't want to have to see a young lad dead in the road, or a young girl that have to be knocked down by a car. Still, I never would want to be something like that. Or even the guard, I never would. Like, when I was younger, I wanted to be a guard. But still, it's a tough job. Like, particularly, as I say, if somebody was knocked down on the road and you had to go to the parents out to say that your daughter won't be coming home, there's no money in the world that's worth that. And that's the thing about it. There's no money in the world that's worth that job. They're having to go and do that. Uh, Yeah, but no, as I say, a lot of people do, because years ago you would hear people say, people that clean the streets are just troublemakers, etc., etc. But that's what I first thought when I probably when I was younger and stuff like that. But it's a decent job. So let's put it that way. It's a job worth doing. I suppose you're making a difference in a small way. You're making a difference, not a big difference, but you're doing something. I suppose so that's the main thing. Um, Now it's not like changing the world, But I suppose in your small area, you're changing a bit. You're doing some kind of good for the environment and for the greater community, I suppose. Even though again the majority, like I will say, the buckle scheme with cycling buckles has helped a lot. There's a lot less buckles on the road than there used to be, but it's more just the only stuff now. It's just people dumping the rubbish too. Like even just in the bags, take for example, it's dumped along the side of the road. There's less bottles than ever, but it's more the big household items, microwaves, fridges, couches, particularly couches of infants. That's just been dumped. That's the main problem really at the moment. It's them kind of stuff. And the majority of the electric stuff in cavan can be recycled for nothing, for the greater good. No, not for the greater good, but for the greater community, I suppose. Because at the end of the day, it's the same when I went to Finland and Helsinki. At least I could say, because I couldn't say it if I went to Dublin, and I hate to bash Dublin, but I wasn't impressed when I went up before I went to Helsinki. I wasn't impressed. I wasn't impressed. I seen multiple needles on the ground. The streets were pretty much a mess. A few stages, there was rubbish lying everywhere. It's not the nicest place. We were going over to Helsinki. There wasn't a bit of rubbish anywhere, and stuff like that. They very clean, like nothing to be seen anywhere. And quite literally, I was about the whole city and seen literally nothing. Seen a few papers thrown out of a bin. That was about it. That's about it. That's all I seen. Like quite literally all I seen. And in Dublin, it's seen 3 or 4 needles. Like literally on the edge of a Connell Street, on the Connell Street Bridge, just after when you go down the quays that way. That's heading towards the customs house. And I didn't feel safe. I did, and I'm totally honest. The saddest thing was, I hung around the city for 30 minutes before I went to the airport. Didn't feel safe. Didn't want to go back. To be totally, I don't really want to go back in January. To be totally honest, and that's to be totally honest. I don't feel safe in the city. And imagine I went into a whole tiny new country and I felt more safer walking around, than I did going around in Dublin city centre. Because I wouldn't go around it even if you paid me. Like the only reason why is I had 30 minutes to kill, and I got dropped off in bus hours, and I said to go up to Connell Street to have a look around. And to be sure, I wasn't impressed in any of the slightest by what was going on. And the same with the side streets in Connell Street. It wasn't not a nice place. And then a few sus people, let's put it that way, with a few tin foil. It didn't improve my notions. But long story short, I did feel sorry for the tourists. Because there was tourists there, was American tourists and stuff you could see going up and down the street with photos and stuff. That's the people, because again, it's not a good look in the country. But there was a few people sus because we're in alleyways and stuff, acting very sus. What I describe, not one guard to be found. I had to play spot the guard. Like there wasn't one on O'Connell Street. There wasn't one up as far as the customs house. I walked up as far as the customs. I walked back down to O'Connell Street and I walked back up, and then around, up the other streets and stuff like that. The hard to remember. There wasn't one guard about to be found. So that's what I'm saying. Compared to Helsinki, when I was in Helsinki, I fucking met the police every 5 minutes. The police either were walking by me or going in the vans around. And then the transport police were just fucking everywhere. So it's a quite difference. Like just if you wanted to go from Dublin to Helsinki, it's a quite difference. And not to mention then people, fake beggars. We talked about it before. Everyone only know, I said it many times. There's a few people there that don't look to be homeless. Let's put it that way. They seem to be getting let off in big cars, etc., in the middle of the day, like in the morning time, been picked up in the evening. So I wasn't impressed, basically, what I'm trying to say. And to be totally honest, I was ashamed to be from Ireland when I seen that kind of stuff. To be honest, and I hate to say it, but it really is, especially the main street in the country. People sacrifice their lives at the GPO, and this is the state of O'Connell Street. That's on the main street of the city, the main part of the country, could argue too, and it's pretty much not the country it used to be. That's what to argue it nicely. Oh, well, thank you, Gerald. I do my best. I know I'm very modest, but I do my best. I could do more, but I suppose one man can only do so much. It's just the system and stuff. it's not. It doesn't favour the person who wants to do something in terms of that. Because as I say, the majority of these people get caught for legal dumping, they get off with it. The judge, if I brought up a case now in the morning for somebody I caught doing it, the judge would literally give out fuck to me, say it's my fault for bringing them up. Like, he would argue with me. Like, oftentimes they argue with the people bringing them up. It's insane. It doesn't make much sense because I've literally seen it before. And one time there was a case with somebody little, and it's only €150 fine, but the judge literally said that there was no point bringing them up. It's only €150. What was the point in bringing this person up? But still, at the end of the day, this person littered and had photos and video cameras of it. It's insane. No, it's just that they don't want to really deal with it. So, and it takes donkey's years. So if somebody was found now tomorrow morning, legal dumping, it could take 30 years for them to be up in the court. Like, that's what I'm saying. So there could be a case now. Tomorrow is Thursday. That's court day in the town, in Cavan town. There could be somebody up from 3 years ago. I couldn't even remember who they are, etc., etc. But you get what I'm saying? The justice system is just fucked. Is it snowing? No, I think it's snowing in some parts of Ireland, like up in the mountains, some places. I do, yeah. I see it myself. Like, I didn't see them getting into cows and stuff, but I've seen it online, people happening and stuff like that. And you can tell by looking at them, they weren't genuine because they were kind of hiding their face a bit. And that's the thing when you know they're not genuine. Because I did see some genuine people that seem to be homeless. But unfortunately, I do think they're probably a bit high on drugs. The two people I've seen that kind of look genuine homeless, they seem to be off their head on something. So it's a pity. You have to pity these poor people that have to go through it because I'm sure they never wanted to be like that. It's just unfortunate there's no help for them, and you wouldn't want to give them money or anything because they could just go off and buy drugs and stuff, and I wouldn't want to have to do that. But it's a sad state of affairs. No, it is generally a sad state of affairs. Especially going from Dublin city centre to Helsinki, etc. It's a quite difference, especially in the first day. It's a very different. Because I was even afraid to take out my phone on the common street in case somebody would go off, etc., etc. That's how bad it was. Like, I wouldn't video any of it because I was too afraid to take out my phone. So, and that's how bad it was. So, because the sense of unease, I suppose, it's something. It's hard to describe, but it's just unease, and but that's why I say to you, if Tretty's still here, fair play to you for being able to go around and video and stuff like that in Garda stations and stuff. But what was in Kildare? There was some woman attacked and stabbed just a few meters away from the Garda station in Kildare, some part of Kildare. Let me see. Let me see. Messages. So yeah. What was what about? What about? My what, you mean? Oh yeah. Yeah, the woman was a few meters away from the Garda station. So I don't know if that's true, but that's what I was told. That she was stabbed, but she's alive, I think. But, that's what I'm saying. And you remember the poor Canadian tourist that was killed beside Store Street Garda station, just there beside the bus hours in Dublin. When you see that, and that's the biggest Garda station in Dublin, I think, apart from maybe Pearse Street. But when you see that a few hundred meters away from the Garda station, there's not much. There's not when you see that kind of thing, nowhere's really safe. When you see that. Well, hopefully so, Tony. I don't think so, but anyway, we move on to the last thing for tonight because I meant to go at 9 o'clock just to say, and we're still here. I hope you're happy. So I don't know. If, let me see. I don't know. So this is obviously Independence Day was in Finland the other day. So this is Alexander Stubbs, etc., etc. So basically, have a big do in the presidential palace. I just want to just show this for a second. Just watch this photo for a second. Watch this photo. So basically, he asked for hand sanitizer from because his hand was sweaty. Because obviously, meeting the president, I'm sure anybody would be. Your hands would be sweaty. It would feel because you could. God knows what you could say. God forbid if I had to meet some person or something like that. That would be me too. So that's what he asked for hand sanitizer, but it was quite funny. But I do feel sorry for him because imagine that like the person literally turns around looking for hand sanitizer for the guests and stuff. Hey, how are you doing? Oh, but well, but imagine that. Like, imagine, would anybody else be very embarrassed? Like, would you not be embarrassed? Like, if the person literally turned around and had to ask his aid for hand sanitizer? No, sanitizer. I'll show you now in a second. But no, imagine that. Like, imagine that. Like, I'd be shitting myself. Like, I generally fake probably if that happened to me. Like, the person literally turned around to look for hand sanitizer off his aid for me. So, like, I literally would probably die. Uh, Especially because this was some general or something in the army, in the Finnish army. He's commander in chief. Just asked him for hand, like to get hands on it. So something. But yeah, no, just wanted to show you this because this photo I showed on my community post. So obviously he's the minister of sitters. This is the one that just likes cutting everything. She just doesn't like herself. She doesn't like anything. So this is the current prime minister of Finland. This is obviously the former prime minister Sanna Marin. This is what Sanna Marin was wearing black. Like black tea. But yeah, this is the Cohen Prime Minister. But yeah, this photo was all over the Finnish media. Imagine literally you think the president or something would be the front page of the media, the Finnish media. But this picture was like pretty much they were saying this is the real leader of Finland. The other people are just fake leaders. And like everybody was saying it, like the look on your face when you realize your predecessor is better than you in every way matter by this. Like that's the majority of people. Everybody in Finland was saying this pretty much that your predecessor is better than these. Especially this woman here, something very well. But that's what I said. Um, so feeling pitched. Oh no, don't turn into the Tony because Tony's always talking about eating food and eating this. Before I go. So obviously, this is to do with the media, but I just want to acknowledge this, I suppose. So it's to do with an interview, like she was after the thing in the presidential palace. It's the two in terms of getting an interview for this, whatever you call this, sack, whatever you call it. Pretty much the not much edition. And the reason why I say this, like this crowd in Finland, obviously Santa wouldn't be too happy. I'll explain why in a second. But there's a lot of hullabaloo over this because she wouldn't do the interview with them. But again, at the end of the day, she doesn't really have to because she's not the prime minister anymore. But I found this, like I found this very interesting. This bit, like especially this part. Imagine saying something like this. Everybody wants a piece of Santa. Like, that sounds a bit a bit risky saying this kind of thing. But yeah, no, but like she literally was the most photographed person at the presidential. Imagine the president and his wife and stuff. You think they'd be the most photo? Like Santa Marin was. Like imagine that. Just goes to show you who the press are really interested in. Like the current prime minister, nobody cared pretty much. Like so. Um, but no, I'll show you why now in a second that she didn't want to give an interview to him. I tell you why. View there, yeah. Oh, don't say much. We'll see what happens in there. Like people go, no bother, Greenface, don't apologise. No need, there's no need to apologise. We're not going to shoot you. It's not mandatory to be here. We're not that bad. So yeah, the same media thing, just to show you what I'm talking about. Just to show you, because just to emphasize it, because I don't think some people why she didn't give an interview to this crowd. So this is the crowd I'm talking about. It's media crowd in Finland. But particularly the thing I'd say about this, and the reason why she didn't, because this journalist, we talked about this before, this journalist for a couple of weeks was going around really doing this. Like that's what he said. That's what he was doing. Like literally photographing her backside. So not the journalist that asked her the question, I just to say, but the company. This company. That's what they done with a few for a few weeks. Just literally followed her around and emphasizing the picture of her backside. And like this isn't from like a journalist in Finland. This is an actual media article from 2022. Like an actual journalist went around and done this for a few weeks, photographing Sanna Marin's backside. And you wonder why in the same crowd of media wants to ask her questions and interview. You could probably ask, you're probably wondering why she said no. I wonder why, Like, no, not my favourite, but no, it is very creepy. Like, I'm sure if you went around, say, for example, Dublin and done that to a few women, I'm sure they would call the police, and they get on and call the Sinn O'Connor, and they'll be rightly so, because that's unacceptable that you go around to literally women, especially with a young child, going around just doing that kind of thing. So you wonder why she didn't want to get an interview from that crowd. You would really wonder why, because I wouldn't blame her for saying no to them. Because who would really blame her? Like generally, who would do that? If they do that kind of thing. Yeah, that is very inappropriate. Like especially with a young child, and he done this for a few weeks. This is not the only photo. There's many other photos that he done. Not the journalist asked them out of the press, but the same media crowd that published this article is still up. Like it's literally the front and center of that article. I know. So it's a bit inappropriate. That's what I'm saying. It's a bit inappropriate. So that's what I'm saying to you. And this is an actual article, a journalist, they done that. They done that for a few weeks, just went around doing that. Yeah, but you wonder why she toned it down. Can you see why she toned it down now? You kind of get why she said, I probably don't want to be talking to you, Never put pants, yeah, but maybe. A different way, I suppose. Same, I'm sure I did, yeah, I'm sure I did. But no. But yeah. No, but it isn't appropriate now. It is really. I would say the same if somebody done that to Helen McEntee or they done it to, I don't know, some of the women politicians here. Holly Cohn. So if they done to any of them, I still would say the same thing. Because there's really no relevance. Like what relevance it has it, say for example, one around after Holly Cohn's doing that. It's no relevance. It has no really relevance to anything. It'd be different if she was doing something, like say if she was, I don't know, playing soccer or something like that. I'm just saying, no, just for argument's sake, I would still take up for Helen McEntee. I know this is the one thing I would say, if there was a journalist actually doing this in Ireland doing that, just following around doing that without her consent, doing that kind of like emphasizing this bit of her body, if that makes sense. I still would be saying that's nothing to do. We should be more focused on the hate speech bill, if that makes sense. I'd take us up to Helen McEntee. We should be more talking about the hate speech bill than what her body parts are. If that makes any sense. I don't mean to be offensive or anything, but that's just what I'm saying. And it's the truth. Like, we should worry about the hate speech bill more than what Helen McEntee is wearing or whatever. Like it's just the truth. Like, you know what I'm saying? Do you get what I'm saying? Doesn't everybody agree with me on that? Like, it's just the basic fact. Because we shouldn't be worried about what they're wearing. It's what they're doing. And that's what I'm saying. And it's the truth. It's what they're doing. Like Helen McEntee takes us up the hate speech bill, all this stuff. I'm sure people make sense that it's the truth. So okay. Moving swiftly on. But anyway, anything else to say before we go for tonight? Because we're about just to go now in a few minutes' time. I'll probably put up a picture of the tree later on if I get a chance. At some stage. Hate those speech. But no, just take for example, you still think would it be inappropriate, even just for an only woman on the street, for somebody to do that. I know it would be extremely inappropriate for some man, take for example now, to go along in Cavan Town now in the morning and take out a big camera or something like that and do that kind of thing to your only members of the public. I still think it would be inappropriate. That's the idea in that. That's the only emphasis. That's what I'm really saying here. And you can kind of see why she didn't do the interview. You can kind of get what I'm saying. I'm just saying, even in Dublin, take for example, we went down to Dublin, and somebody doing that, I still would say the Gardaí should probably stop him from doing that. I think it just makes sense, I suppose, in that way. But yeah, anything else just before we go? Any other things? Anything else anybody want to get out of them before they go? Any other comments? Quicksand, yeah. My camera's huge zoomed in. Oh, your camera? I thought you said my camera. I was going to be like, what's wrong with my camera? I thought I clicked on something by mistake. Because you can zoom this camera in that I'm using, but I don't do it because it's not necessary really to do it. But that's what I thought. I thought I clicked to zoom it in. But anyway, I think we leave it there. There's something else. In quicksand, no, I don't think I'm in quicksand at the moment. I can only say the truth. That's the idea. That's a good question. I think it's just generally about democracy and stuff like that, and elections and stuff. Nothing really too much. There's not much detail about what you're saying, but pretty much seems like I say that'll be what we should be saying. I know what day she's speaking on. She's speaking on the 8th. We know that. She's speaking on the 4th day of the thing. But I don't know much more than that, Tony. Only. So I don't know exactly what she's going to be speaking on specifically. But that's what I assume she'll be talking about. And about probably her prime ministership, I think, for example. Because obviously you talk about that. About her being prime minister, etc., etc. Because pretty much the main thing about the effect is it's all about really making connections. Obviously, I won't make any connections because I won't be talking to anybody else but Sana if I get around it. Because I'm not going to be talking to some people in big black suits who are NGOs, etc., etc. It's more about self-empowerment, like gaining leadership, etc., etc. Being a leader, if that makes any sense. Do you get what I'm saying? And self-empowerment. I don't know, whatever way you want to look at that one. Whichever way people take that, I suppose. So I don't know, but exactly. Obviously, Boris Johnson, we all know what he's going to be talking about. He's going to be talking about his fucking book. Excuse my language, but that's what he's going to be on about. Everything else doesn't matter. His book is the main thing. That's Boris Johnson's going to go on for 2 or 3 hours about his book. Buy my book and just he literally got kicked off fucking Channel 4 News during the presidential elections in America because he wouldn't shut up about his book. So I presume it'd be the same thing here. We have to just kick him off the stage. But there's a lot more things I could say about the effect. To be totally honest, I will say it after the thing's over, etc., etc. I will say there's a few things I'm totally honest not that pleased about in terms of it. But I suppose it's nitpicky, I suppose, in a way too. But we see how it goes. Hopefully, it should go well. But anyway, I tell you anyway when the time comes, and it's only 4 weeks away, so you'll see me in 4 weeks' time there. I know. But I know. But it'd be an interesting thing because I never went. Actually, would you believe I never went to something like this? Uh, what's my goal? Nothing. I have no goal really in life. I'm just kind of happy to be here. That's what I am. I'm happy to be alive and happy to exist, etc., etc. I'm just happy to. I'm happy. I'm happy out. I'm not really have really any goals in life. I don't really care about being rich or being famous or anything. I'm just happy to be here. I'm just happy to live my day-to-day life, and I suppose I'm thankful for um, you know, living my life. I suppose that's what it is. I never really think about a goal. But yeah, no, I don't think it like to be totally honest with you and to be totally straight up with you. I don't think there's any chat. I think it's less than maybe a 5% chance out of 90% chance. 99% chance or 100% chance. It's only about a 5% chance I'm probably going to come anywhere close to see, if that makes sense. So you're being anywhere near, I suppose. So we see, but I don't think so. I have to say that. I have to say, unfortunately, I don't think so. Um, that's just the sad thing. I don't think it's going to happen. And I'll explain why after the thing, but I don't think it will happen, unfortunately. I just have to be probably lucky if I come across. I haven't just come across her. That's the only thing, really. If I'm not rich, yeah, money's not everything. It makes life easier. But a lot of people who have money and stuff like that are often miserable. They're not joyful into that. Like at the end of the day, money be there when you're dead and gone, and that's the thing about it. And that's just the truth. Like people, there's people that are multi-millionaires that have died, and they couldn't bring their money with them. It didn't matter how much money they had. It didn't bring them with them. It didn't bring them. They didn't go with them. So it was that. In so many cases, so many people have trillions and billions in the bank. It didn't save them from debt. It didn't save them. They couldn't bring it with them. And at the end of the day, it's just an object. It's just a thing to be spent. It's more important just to live the moment. Like I don't think really anything else matters about work. As long as you have enough to do you, and that's always been the thing about me. As long as you have enough to do you, and you're happy enough and you have a bit left over, that's the main thing. Because too much about greed in life. There's too much. People want too much. And I suppose that's what makes people very happy in Finland. They're just happy with what they have. If they have a house, even though it's a small house or whatever, they're just kind of happy. If they have a cow, they're just happy. They don't want a bigger cow into that. They're just kind of content with what they have. And I think that's the main thing, that you're just happy with what you have. And I think that's why they're the happiest country, because they don't want more. They're just happy with what they have. They're happy with just the basics. I suppose in the Western world, particularly Ireland and the UK, we always want a bigger car, a bigger house. It's just always like that. But it's something to do with philosophy. It's a long thing. Yeah, but the thing about being a millionaire, you have to remember this, and this is the thing that you don't forget. People they have hundreds of people trying to get money off you, etc., etc., and you just be constantly harangued for money, etc. Makes any sense. So it's better just to be an only Joe than somebody that wants to be something. Hello, Kevin. I'm sorry. Apologies. I'm not too bad. Sorry, I was too busy yapping. Sorry, apologies about that. See, when I start yapping, I don't shut up. So hello, sorry if you didn't think I seen you there. Now with extra information, of course, too, yeah. But you get what I'm saying. At the end of the day, when you're dead and gone, the money's no good to you. So is that no good to you. I see people from this part of Cavan had hundreds of thousands. You could buy the country, and it didn't do any good to them. They still went into a box. They had a better box maybe than some people, but at the end of the day, they didn't bring it with them. So was that, and that's just the thing. And it's just a straight up truth, because you can't bring your money with you. So that's your question, Brian. That's really it. That I'm happy where I am, and I don't really have a goal. If I meet Santa, I'm happy enough. That will make my year, I suppose, next year. But I don't think it's likely, unfortunately, unless we all gather and protest. But I don't think so. I don't think it's, as I say, it's less than the 5% chance, give or take 5%, at most maybe 10. It's not likely. That's pretty much what I'm saying. Especially because the veteran centre was a big place too. You remember, it's a huge place, not like a small building or something like that. There's going to be 7,000 or so people there. It's going to be hard to find anything. But we live with that. We see what happens. But I'll tell you more when the time comes. It's only 4 weeks away now, so we see how we go. But yeah, I'm not. I'm just saying to people, don't be too hopeful that there'll be your video or live stream or something of it, because I don't think it's going to happen. To be totally honest with you, I suppose I'm leaving out a crucial detail here, but I suppose I'll tell you later on. But it's not that significant, but I suppose it's something to take in mind. But yeah, I think that's it, everyone. I think that's all she wrote for tonight. I meant to be gone at 9 o'clock, just to say, so I'm here nearly an hour later on. But yeah, so we see what happens. But yeah. But yeah, the only thing I say to people is appreciate the moment. Appreciate being alive and stuff, being able to talk, even just being able to talk. There's not many people, there's loads of people in the world that haven't got the ability to speak, haven't got the ability to move their arms, move their legs, something that we take for granted. And I think people do. We take too much for granted. Like, we can't move our arms. There's people in the world who can't move their arms, they can't speak, they can't hear. There's people that can't do that. And it's only till we realize that, that we appreciate, even things might not be great in life. There's loads of issues, there's loads of problems. But, we're better off than a lot of people in the world. That's the thing. Like, even just being able to breathe and stuff like that. And having the ability to have a life and have some kind of meaning in life. I do think it's the most important thing. And I don't really think anything else matters. I think that's just the most important thing. But no, thank you, everyone. Apart from the bit of soccer about all that. But I generally do take it in my head. That's the most important thing. But anyway, thank you, everyone. Good night.